Hello, Internet, and welcome to our very first stream of Survivors Complex. We are so excited to be here and to share this wonderful game with you. My name is Sean. I am the Dungeon Master for this campaign. I'm going to introduce everyone else that we have here with us. On my left, we have Savannah, our stream manager. Next to her, we have Dylan, one of our Twitch chat mods. We also have on the far left, Sarah, our overlay designer. Below them, we have Alex and Rachel, and then Kyle, another one of our Twitch chat mods, and last but certainly not least, Julie, our stream artist who created all of the amazing character art that we're using in this game. If you'd like to, go and say this now, you can follow us on Twitter, on the Twitter handles that are above us on the overlay there. If you so choose. Just a few things before we get started. First, as I said, this is our very first stream for this game. So hang with us if there are any tech issues. The mods will keep you updated in the chat. And we're going to try to get through any of those as smoothly as we can. Second, a little bit about our game, just so you know where we're coming from. We're playing D&D 5th edition in a homebrew setting called Sarthia, which I created for the purposes of this game. The group of players have been adventuring across Sarthia with different characters for the last year and a half or so. I'm not going to lore dump here in the introductions just for the sake of time and interest. But if you have any questions about the setting, feel free to ask in the chat during the stream, and our mods will collect those questions and I will answer them either after our break or on Twitter after the game. So the mods will be on the lookout for that. Third, I stick very close to 5e rules written during our games, but we do deviate here and there for the sake of a good time, and I'll make quick calls on rules just to keep things moving as we go. So if you see us doing something that's not quite the way you do it, feel free to talk about it, talk with me about it after the game. You can contact me on Twitter or ask questions in the stream. But I'm not going to be looking to the chat for suggestions on how to do things during it. I don't have that pulled up. I can't see what's going on in the chat. Just leaving that to the mods. We do have some homebrew rules on injuries, resurrection, food, carrying capacity. I'll try to point those out as we go, just so you guys can see what we're doing. That might be a little different than what you're used to. And you can ask questions about that if you want. Lastly, I'd like to thank everyone who is hosting our game. We'll give better thanks and better credits once the stream is done towards the end of it. But to everyone watching, make sure you follow and subscribe You Pick Gaming on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, so that you can keep updated on all things Survivors Complex. So, with that, I guess we will go ahead and jump right in, unless any of our cast here has any questions or anything to ask me before we get started. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and bring it in. So, as we begin our tale, the ocean waves lap up against the sides of the Maven's Courage as the ship cuts through the shallow waters off the northern coast of the Graldar continent. You've been traveling these waters for days now, having crossed Felthorn Pass after departing from South Harbor into Vrandal. The journey has been uneventful, as expected, save for the occasional squall. The crew seems well versed in sailing these waters, however you find yourselves traveling with much more than typical sailors. Arranging for passage on the Maven is an Vrandalian delegation consisting of soldiers, church officials, and nobles. Two figures have caught your attention on the journey. The first being Commandant Fulcher of the Stalwart Keepers, officer of the Vrandalian army. And the second being Bishop Elclair of the Temple of Six, representative of the Vrandalian government and religious authority. Both of them are the officials that have put together this delegation for the inspection of Fort Harrington, to which you are heading. The ship also holds a number of other passengers, some working their way across the sea as deckhands, others booking their passage as merchants and traders. Each person's stories and conversations contribute to the palpable expectation of new opportunities in an unknown land. Over the past few weeks, you've learned the names and stories of most traveling aboard this ship. So, at this point, I'm going to have you guys do some character descriptions, as you guys have been traveling for a little while, have seen each other. So, we're just going to begin with people giving a brief description what your character looks like and sort of what they're doing during this time. And I'm going to start with Denowin.
Okay. So my character is Denowin, or Den, as she prefers to be called. Den is a younger Triton woman. She's relatively short, kind of small by human standards. She's about 5 feet tall. But under her armor, she's cut with muscle. She's very strong looking. She has light blue skin, dark blue hair that she keeps pulled back in a long waist-length braid, and emerald green eyes that stand out against her skin. She has pointed, finned ears and webbed fingers and toes, and fins on the back of her exposed calves that give away her amphibious nature. Den wears chainmail, but usually doesn't wear gauntlets or boots unless she absolutely has to, or you make her. On her back, she carries a warhammer and a shield. Around her neck, she wears a holy symbol. It's a circular amulet with the symbol of a broken sword bisected by a lightning bolt. And then one of her most noticeable features, I guess, other than those that give away her Triton heritage, are her tattoos. She's covered in tattoos. A few of them are visible, even when she is wearing her armor. She has a swirling pattern starting at her temples, branching out across her cheekbones, under her eyes, moving down her cheeks to her collarbone. She has the same kind of swirling pattern around her calves and ankles and on the tops of her feet. On her right hand, she has a tattoo of several hash marks that are keeping count of something. And then on her left and right forearms, partially visible at the ends of her chainmail sleeves, are tattoos of some text.
What has she been doing on the ship during this journey?
Well, she sort of worships the god of the sea. So she would be praying a lot. If anyone else was doing the same thing, if she thought that anybody else on the ship was sort of a religious type, she would probably try to spend a little bit of time with them and kind of figure out what they were all about, as well as, because she is a seasoned sailor, kind of helping out where she could around the ship. So.
Okay. There are a few religious figures on the ship, notably traveling with Bishop Elclair, who is one of the keepers or one of the officials sent by the Temple of the Six, worships a number of the deities of the Paramount Convergence. So there are a couple other kind of deacons and attendants there along with him. You'd also probably have met or at some point spoken with the paladin who is on the ship. And we'll go ahead and cut over to Lilibet next.
Hello. Okay. Lilibet is a stout halfling. Her full name is Lilibet Vinebottle. She is a journeyman winemaker. She worships Lilavath, which is a basically god of earth, for lack of a better description, or more formal description. She's just hit 20 years old. She's young. She looks maybe 3 feet. She says it's 3 feet. If she does some stretching, get some good shoes with some height on it, she hits 3 feet. She's got long strawberry blonde hair that she keeps braided in a crown around her head. She usually always has some sort of plant tucked behind her ear. I'm betting since she's on the ship, she's figured out a way to get some sort of sea kelp that she's dried out and just tucked there behind her ear. She is a little pudgy. She's still got some baby fat on her, but she's definitely starting to show some muscle. She's, growing into her fully fledged form, as it were. She's curious. She's asking everybody what the heck is going on. What are they doing? She's learning as much as she can, kind of making a nuisance of herself, but she's cute, so most people allow it. But yeah, she's a paladin, and she carries a warhammer that, depending on the day, she'll use two-handed or one-handed, and she also has a whip.
So I'm assuming that because of your curiosity and seeing some of these strange people do with strange customs, that maybe Den and Lilibet might have had some conversations about religion. You might have asked her some questions. Den, do you think that's something that your character, this is the sort of person your character might speak with?
Yeah, probably. She'd probably be a little reserved at first, just because she doesn't worship one of the major 6 gods, but I think maybe after a couple of days they would talk to each other.
Okay. Also on the ship we have a half-elf, an older gentleman traveling along with Lilibet, Sadel.
And Sadel, like you said, is a half-elf. He is a little on the taller side. He's 5'11", so he's not super tall, but towering over a halfling. He's got middle age, so he's got laugh lines and got a couple of what am I trying to say? Wow, words are not coming to me. Cool. Wrinkles, there we go. Got a couple wrinkles on his face because he's kind of a weathered traveler. He's got a salt and pepper hair. It's a little messy, kind of unkempt, and he wears glasses. But before you would really notice the glasses, you would notice his eyes, which he's got one green and one blue, and they really stand out. He's got kind of paler skin from working inside a lot in his shop. And he does worship Arisha, so he would probably speak with the other religious characters on board.
And other than speaking with them, anything notable that he does with his time while he's on the ship?
Yeah, he tinkers a lot. He's always got some sort of gears, gadgets kind of thing. He's always working with his hands, always messing with his hands, polishing his weapons, that sort of thing.
Okay. And your weapon is a bit interesting too, isn't it? Do you want to describe that a bit for everyone?
Yeah, it's called a thunder cannon, and it's essentially it's a rifle, but not a lot of people have seen this technology before. Imagine sort of like a blunderbuss-esque rifle, but it not only shoots projectiles, but it also has this magic aura around it.
All right. So, given your tinkering and having some interesting weapons, you might have noticed another kind of companion, another traveler on the ship that has an interesting looking weapon as well. Barb, why don't you go and do your description?
Okay, so my character, Barb, she is about, I want to say 5'7", flaming red hair, kind of like mine. Her the sides of her head are shaved. She has pale skin and greenish eyes. She's the clothes that she wears are very I don't know. They're pretty. They're nice clothes. They're fancy clothes. She has bluish green, fine linens and stuff that she wears, and she carries what appears to be a great axe, but it has some strings on it, so it kind of looks like a lute as well. And she has an earring that dangles from her ear. It's like a blue teardrop shape. And she has a septum spike that goes through her nose.
All right. And how does how does Barb spend her time on the ship during these weeks?
I'd probably say she's probably like polishing her lute axe, and like tweaking some of the strings, trying to get in tune, and playing music, if that's what you can call it.
Attempting to play music and entertain the crew. All right. So do you think Sadel and Barb, the two of you, might have some conversations about your weaponry? I assume that, at least to you, Sadel, with your keen eye, you might notice this and it might intrigue you a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I said I would definitely be interested in that weapon.
Okay. All right. So maybe some conversations there as you guys kind of discuss the intricacies of creating and using unique weaponry, along with some of the other guards and sailors on the ship who would probably be interested in what you guys are doing as well. So traveling alongside Barb is a figure that sort of sticks out a bit on this vessel, a tiefling. Lucius, why don't you go ahead and do your description?
All right. He's 5'10". He is a tiefling. He's got like pale purplish skin, horns that kind of peek up and go around his head. He's got darker green eyes, but unlike most humanoids, it's all green. So pupil, sclera, everything. He's got kind of hair like mine, slicked all the way back. And for the most part, he kind of stays away from everybody. He's been in the situation kind of long enough to know that most people are kind of iffy with tieflings given the state of things. So he's not going to try to stand out. Some things that people might have noticed over the few days is he sometimes says things that could sound like he's having a conversation, but when they ask him or if they're passing by, he can be like, "Oh, I thought you said this, and that's what I was answering. Sorry, the sea's getting to me." He's kind of strange in that way, but not too much.
Okay. So most of his time on the ship being kept to himself and staying in isolation, which is pretty easy for you to do, given your tiefling nature. You are accepted on the ship and understood that you're not there in chains, even with the war going on with the tiefling empire of Olnuk here in the south. Part of the reason why you guys are on this voyage. People understand why you're there, but are a little bit skeptical about your presence and your affiliations.
Yeah, he understands that. He does converse with people and, lets them know why he's here and, if anyone asks. But for the most part, he kind of either stays with himself or, talks to Barb.
Okay.
And he also, seeing that one of the people here has a whip, he notices that because he also has one on his hip as well.
Okay, so maybe discussing between the two of you the intricacies of fighting with a whip and the difficulties.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So another figure on the vessel that sort of stands out about as much as the tiefling, though for more positive reasons, and you sort of end up with a little bit of a group of sailors talking with you and adventurers and nobles trying to discuss and chew your ear off a bit or talk your ear off a bit. Star.
So Star is garnering so much of this wondrous, amazing, wonderful attention because he himself is one of the Tabaxi race. Unusual for Tabaxi, he actually has pure white fur, light grey markings, and pale blue eyes. He stands just over 5.5 feet tall. And one of the more notable things about him would be his, his strange coloration, his different fur, and his interest with a lot of what's going on the ship. He's generally curious about absolutely everything. He's asked Sadel and Barb at least one question about their weapons and what they're doing. Star spends the rest of his time, though, studying a small diary that he's surprisingly secretive about.
Okay. So maybe kind of following you and you and Lilibet kind of going together, asking and harassing people, asking questions about what's going on. Many of them coming up to you, obviously, to discuss Groudar, to ask you questions about Groudar, since you have been brought on this ship, and it has been made known to all of you at this point that Star is there to act as sort of a guide once you guys journey into Groudar with this delegation, hoping to make your way to the Tabaxi capital. Does anybody think that they might kind of ask Star about anything, or maybe approach him about any of that?
Lil's totally asking all the questions. Asking about plant life, asking about, what's the weather like, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, Lucius probably pulls him aside a few, probably once or twice, to ask him, what his people are like, and, if they've heard anything about the war going on, and just kind of starting talks, basically.
Okay. And then I saw the mysterious crew member, Saren, who you can go ahead and do your introduction, or however you wish.
Okay. So yeah, I'm playing Saren. She's a fairly lean human who stands at about 5'7". She's tanner with like this bronze complexion, and she has straight brown hair that falls about just below her chest. She also has light brown eyes. They kind of border on yellow. And there's nearly always a confident smile just on her face, regardless of the situation. She tends to favor loose yet long-sleeved clothing in neutral colors, and her clothing always covers her arms and legs despite the weather. There are always 2 worn-down scimitars tucked at her side, and I think that during the few weeks on the ship, she is working as a crew member, but she would have attempted to integrate herself among the passengers and other sailors alike. First off, she introduced herself as Kara, so that's the name that everyone on the ship knows her by. But she would have attempted to talk to many other people, just chatting about, maybe where they come from, what they're planning on doing. And she'll always invite other people over if they want to sit down and play cards with her. So.
And I saw you nodding when I was asking about people speaking with Star. Do you think you would have specifically targeted to speak with him at some point?
Oh yes, definitely. She's very interested in him.
Okay. So over those few weeks, all of you are sort of getting to know each other, spending some time with the crew. Most of the nobles and the bishop and the commandant stay off the deck of the ship. They stay in the captain's quarters or below deck and kind of keep to themselves, sort of have that air of upper class, not really interacting with some of the peasantry. But you can speak with them, and some of them are more friendly than others. Some of them you find are there seeking adventure and glory and all that sort of stuff that most people come to unexplored locations looking for. So, as the journey passes and where we pick up here today, the gray cliffs of the Groudar coast loom before you, and the ocean reflects a myriad of colors as the light of the sun begins to recede over the western horizon. Sailors hurriedly climb up and down the rigging as the Maven approaches the shore. Tucked among a cluster of rocks, you see a dock jutting out into the bay, at which a few small fishing boats are moored. The sails furl and the ship glides to a halt. Sailors throw ropes to workers on the docks, and the ship is slowly guided into a small port. As it comes to a rest, the sailors busily and hurriedly make their way above and below deck. A gangplank is lowered onto the docks and stabilized so that the sailors can begin making their way up and down. And you see as some of the nobles begin to emerge from below deck, staring out over the clear blue waters, which the sunlight is currently refracting off of. People begin to unload off of the ship. Is there anything anybody wishes to do at this point, or are you just sort of moving with the group? Okay. So as you begin to make your way off the docks, finally getting to solid land once again, kind of some of you that don't spend as much time at sea probably thankful to be back on solid ground, or at least back on the docks once again. Commandant Fulcher and Bishop Elclair step out. Commandant Fulcher, wearing gold plate armor, is an older looking human man. He has the symbol of the stalwart keepers on his chest of his plate armor, which is an inverted anchor with 6 stars equally spaced around it. He also has the 6 stars and the anchor on both of his shoulder plates as well. He steps out, sort of squinting at the sunlight. His hair is closely cropped. He has some tanned, almost bronze skin. Definitely looks as though someone that's seen some battle and is battle hardened in his time. He looks up towards the sheer cliffside that stands before you. You can see this narrow pathway that winds its way up the side of the cliff. He turns around and holds the door open as Bishop Elclair comes out behind him, and an older human man, white hair balding on top, hunched over, wearing white robes that have the 6 stars that signify the Temple of the Six as well. The commandant ushering him out, and the bishop looks up and kind of whistles under his breath and says, "Are we going to be climbing all the way up that?" The commandant looks down at him and says, "Yes, Your Grace. We can have some men aid you up the cliffs, though, if you need help." And the bishop says, "Oh, I should be able to make. We might have to take a break, but how far is it going to be?" And the commandant looks around and says, "I have no idea. Tabaxi, Star, I think was your name. Do you know how far it is to Fort Harrington from the shore?"
I'm guessing I would know roughly how far the journey would be.
Yeah, it's actually making it up the cliffs. From the top of the cliffs, there's a small sort of valley. The last time you were here, the fort itself sits in the center of the valley, probably 2 miles or so from where you currently are after making up to the top of the cliffs.
Okay. So, roughly it's going to be a 2-mile journey up the cliffs. I'm sure you can manage that, being so young and full of vigor yourself.
You flatter me, but I'm afraid these old bones can only take me so far. I'm sure I'll be fine. We'll make it some way or another. Best be going then. It's getting rather late. And they begin making their way onto the docks to follow all of you. So your delegation, or this group now, which stands at about probably 25 or so, including all of you making your way from the ship. A few sailors as well heading into town, as the ship will be here for a couple days at least. The captain stays on board with some of the others to guard it and to maintain it while you're away. There are a couple of guards, about 5 or 6 noble men and women coming along with you, as well as your group, who are here for your intended purposes. So, you climb the narrow path that leads up the cliff face. The sun continuing to set as you do so. It's quite a far journey, probably 200 feet up or so, and a pretty steep incline, having to stop every now and then to aid the bishop, who in his old age has a bit of trouble, kind of wheezing and gasping as he makes it to the top. As you reach the top of the rise, you see the landscape of Graldar before you. Glowing in the light of the setting sun, the olive green canopies of the lush jungle expand in all directions, climbing up and over cliffs and mountains beyond. Far in the distance, the terrain whelms higher to an immense caldera, the interior of which obscured by white cliffs specked with green. Immediately before you, the jungle has receded away from the ocean breeze, in a valley that stands as a sanctuary of Ivrandalian civilization. Small farmsteads and fields of wheat and corn spread out over the forested landscape, in the center of which, upon a rise, sits a sandstone fort. The 6 sides of the fort stand as bulwarks against the surrounding countryside, with a narrow moat circumventing the structure. The walls stand 20 feet high, and from this distance and seeing the small people moving across it, you can tell it's patrolled by soldiers, and there's definitely a presence within it. Both the northern and the southern sides of the fort, the northern side being the closest to you, seem to have gates that span, or that sit before bridges that span the moat, which serve as the only means of ingress to Fort Harrington. Venturing into the valley and heading down this dusty road that leads into or towards Fort Harrington, you follow a road towards this impressive structure. You can hear the distant sounds of music and laughter echoing over the walls and through the open gates. As the evening continues to wear on and the sun begins to disappear, only seeing the glow of it over the horizon, you walk across the bridge that leads to the fort, the gates of which currently being open. The bridge creaks slightly under the weight of your small group as you stride across it. You see within a shuffle of movement and hear a call to attention. Just past the open gates, the soldiers of Fort Harrington stand in formation, flying the banners of the stalwart keepers, Eve Randall, and the Temple of the Six. As you walk through the formation of soldiers within the gates, a fully armored figure steps between the ranks, helm clutched under her arm. Her gray plate armor is decorated with 2 stars, similar to the 3 worn by Commandant Fulcher. She stops and gives a rigid salute in your direction.
Commandant Fulcher, Bishop Elclair, distinguished nobles and guests, welcome to Fort Harrington.
She beams with a white smile in your direction.
I am Stalwart Captain Sarah Race, commanding officer of this fort. It is a pleasure to have you here.
She continues.
I know we have business to discuss, but we have prepared a small celebration in honor of your arrival. We postponed our harvest festival, hoping that you may partake in the bountiful offerings of the land with us. It is such a pleasure to have distinguished guests here, as we get guests so very rarely.
Commandant Fulcher gives a nod and turns back towards the nobles, and the rest of you kind of gathered off to one side. Looks over towards the bishop. The bishop kind of shuffles forward a bit, catching his breath after the long journey. Says,
but of course, we're happy to see you prospering here. The Six have surely blessed us with such an offering. Let us celebrate once we've had a moment to relax and put up our feet.
The captain smiles at this and says, "Fantastic!" Shouts Captain Race.
If you need, take some time, relax, put away your belongings. Commandant Fulcher and your grace, you have been provided some of the finest quarters we have within the keep, along with our other esteemed guests. We've cleared out some bunks in the barracks for the guards.
And she turns over towards the rest of you gathered there.
As for the rest of you, we have plenty of lodgings available at the Outcast Inn. Just talk to Redley. Until then, enjoy the feast, and if you need anything, come speak with me.
She turns on her heel and calls out to the soldiers to return to their duties. They break formation, and some return back to the barracks, and some back to the walls. Walking in step with the commandant and the bishop, the captain takes them around the side of the keep in the direction that you can hear the festivities coming from. The nobles kind of filter out, and you find yourselves all standing there without anything really to do. Where would you guys like to go?
Didn't want to interrupt your wonderful intro. So as we were coming up and walking up, were there any like plant life or anything like that? Because if there were, I was going to be asking Star everything and anything about the plants.
You actually find in this area right now, the area that you're in has been so heavily deforested and been converted to farmland for Evrandel. Most of it looks about how you'd expect. You can see about a mile or two where the tree line is, the colorful and vibrant jungles of Graldar off in that direction. However, you're not close enough to it at that point. But you can definitely tell there's quite a bit of plant life here that you don't recognize. So you can certainly begin to harass Star about that.
Okay, well, it will happen as soon as we are in plant life. I will
Yeah.
be asking questions.
But what would you guys like to do? There, you can currently hear around the side of the keep. On the far side, you can see some children kind of running around and playing, and you can hear some music emanating from over there. That there's currently a celebration in progress. You're also pointed in the direction of the Outcast Inn, should you wish to put up your belongings anywhere temporarily.
So, Bob, what do you think? It's not what I expected, but, I don't think anyone could foresee this.
Seems fine to me.
I hear music in the inn. You want to give them a taste of what you can do?
Oh, I mean,
Do not sell yourself short, my friend. It will be fine, I promise.
yeah, but I kind of figured that we would save it for when it's really important.
Okay, if you wish.
Yeah, kinda. I get.
I did forget how nervous you can get. He kind of looks to, I'm guessing there are other people in the group around.
Yeah, everyone's basically. You guys are all kind of gathered there without really a place to hang your hat right now.
So, unless we want to, Star, unless you want to show us around, if you know anything, I guess I am heading to the inn. If anyone wants to join me or anyone has a different idea, feel free.
I would really, really like to sample some wine. So I want to go to the inn. Can we go to the inn? I really need some wine.
I guess we're going to the inn. I mean, it has been 5 years since I was here, but I know there are plenty of little nooks and crannies to hide in if we need them.
Okay.
I want a drink.
I'm gonna like you.
To the inn it is.
All right. So you guys begin making your way around the outside of the keep, which is closest to the gate that you're currently at. As you make your way around the side, you can see before you a small sort of courtyard area at the southern edge of the keep. There are a few shops and buildings around it, the largest of which seems to be the inn. You can see the signpost above it, kind of gently swinging in the evening breeze, that says Outcast Inn. There are a couple of other shops around. Looks like a trade shop, a small smithy. But you see, gathered outside the inn, kind of coming off the porch and gathered around all through this courtyard, are dozens of tables set up, people eating, feasting, celebrating. There's a spread of different smoked meats and vegetables gathered from the farmlands around here. You see common folk all gathered around enjoying themselves, intermixed with some soldiers as well. At the head of one of the tables, you can see that the stalwart captain is currently helping the bishop to a seat alongside Commandant Fulcher, and they're beginning to eat as well. There are casks of wine and ale spread all throughout the area as people are celebrating and laughing. There's a small on the porch outside the inn. There's a small sort of bandstand set up, or a small platform set up where a group of musicians is gathering. They sound folksy. They're not necessarily the best musicians you've ever heard, but it provides some ambient atmosphere for the place, and is definitely contributing to the to the atmosphere of the celebration.
Seems lively enough.
Could I go check out the smithy?
You can. So you walk over kind of through the courtyard, making your way through between some tables and some people celebrating, a few of them looking your direction and seeming confused, not recognizing you, and then they smile and give a nod in your direction. Making your way over to the to the building, you can see it's dark within or inside currently. It looks closed up. However, there is a signpost hanging above that as well that says Unver's Workshop.
This does what workshop?
Unver's Workshop. UNVER''S.
Okay. Well, since it looks closed, I'll head back to the group.
Well, currently, actually, sitting outside of it on the porch, there is a about middle-aged dwarven man wearing some jewelry, like golden necklaces, rings, has some green leathers on right now, is kind of flamboyantly dressed, and he's sitting on a chair on the porch outside the workshop, and he looks over to you and says, "Haven't seen you around here before."
I just traveled here by ship. I'm from South Harbor.
Oh, pleasure to meet you. I'm Unver Farseeker. This is my smithy. Do you need anything? We're closed up right now. I can't really. I'd have to light up the fort. We're celebrating. I don't really want to do any work, but if you need any help, I can help you.
Oh, I don't need any work done. I just was taking a look. I'm a smith myself. I have a shop back in South Harbor. I'm actually here on business. I was hoping to set up a sort of trade route down here in Growler.
Oh, well, we might be able to do some business then. Well, you have a shop in Evrandal, you say then?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, I've actually been looking to get some more business in here. It's been rather difficult to do business in these parts. Oh, we should speak more after the celebration tomorrow. Come by my workshop and we'll discuss it.
Of course. I'll see you then.
All right. What did you say your name was again? I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
Sedel. And I hold out my hand to shake.
He stands up from his chair and shakes your hand as well and says,
"Pleasure to meet you, Sedel."
Good to meet you as well.
Well, enjoy the festivities, you and any that might be traveling with you. And like I said, if you need anything, I'm the only smith in town, so I should be able to help.
Of course.
So you head back over to the festivities currently, the celebration. Anybody else, or is everybody just drinking now?
Lil goes straight into the inn and goes bellies up to the bar and looks for the barkeep.
I'm going with Lil.
Okay, so you you go inside the inn. The interior of the inn is actually a bit quieter than outside. There are a few people sitting at tables and having some drinks, and there is currently a barkeep tending to the customers. Actually a familiar, kind of a familiar looking face, a halfling male, about middle-aged, no one you know, but seeing another halfling here was a bit unexpected. He's older than you by a significant portion, but he, as he's wiping off some glasses, looks over the bar towards you and kind of clearly steps up on a stool of some sort behind it and says, welcome. Can I do anything for you? Oh, you must be with the delegation. Do you need a place to stay?
Yes, well, Matt, I think we do, but I know lots of us would like something to wet our whistle.
Oh, drinks. Certainly. I have some back here. Most of our wine and ale is actually outside with the celebration casks there. You should be able to get some I don't have to charge you for anything you drink out there. It's already been paid for by the captain. If you want something a bit nicer or anything else, I can pour you a glass or a flagon.
Well, what kind of wine do you have?
Well, we have the finest of Evrandalian wines here. We have some vintages from just east of South Harbor, from the Glendale Winery. We also have some from the mountains. We have a crisp apple ale from up there, brewed by some of the vintners and brewers in that direction. I don't really. What are you looking for specifically? I'm sorry, we don't really get connoisseurs in this area.
By any chance, do you have any from Balavar?
From Balavar? No, it's been a while since we've gotten a shipment from Balavar, given the conflict. I don't think we have any here.
Well, I can tell you, you're missing out. But
I'm sure.
I will go outside and I will grab some wine. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll be back in to settle up for a room.
All right. Your room should be compensated for at least until the delegation moves through. Everything's been paid for by the captain, so.
That is music to my ears.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting all of you. My name is Renly Targarth. I'm the owner of this establishment.
I'm pleased to meet you, Renly. Just wondering, do you have any of the drinks from the locals?
Oh, any tabaxi brews or?
Well, it's been a while since I've been back here. I'm longing for the taste of home.
Okay. We do not. We've had a bit of trouble getting shipments from Thousand Steps. The pass has been impassable lately. So we're out of that as well. I'm sorry, our stocks are running a bit low of everything that isn't grown or brewed directly in the valley.
Fair. I'm sure I will be able to get some on the journey. Thank you for your time anyway.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to see that you all made it here safely. So please enjoy the celebration.
I shake his hand and I say, I'm Lilibet Vinebottle. It's very nice to meet another halfling. I'm very excited to be here. And she goes running out.
Before he's able to even respond, you just kind of rip your hand from his and go running out. He's like, pleasure to meet you too. Oh, God.
So you said that there were a few other people in the establishment drinking and stuff, right?
There are.
Okay, so while they were having that conversation with Renly, I would probably just go up to probably someone who doesn't seem entirely sober and ask if they want to play cards.
Okay. So you kind of scan the bar a bit. Have you make an insight check, actually?
Ooh, first roll of the game. 20.
20. All right. So you scan the bar as you lean up against it as Lilibet's having this conversation, and you see there are two or three people sitting at tables throughout. Two of them sitting together, a man and a woman, looking about middle-aged. They're having a conversation, drinking. They don't look too into their cups yet, but you do see one man that's kind of towards the corner, an older looking farmhand of some sort. He's really has tanned, reddish skin. He's human, very closely cropped hair, definitely has weathered and leathery hands. He's sitting there, kind of has a cup in one hand and is just kind of partially almost falling asleep, and then comes back to wakes himself or stirs himself again before almost nodding off.
I'm going to take out my deck of cards. I'm going to just slide into the seat across from him. I'm going to look at him. I'm going to say, hey.
As you do that, as he's kind of stirring off to sleep, he kind of goes, I'm sorry.
Who are you?
I'm Kara. Who are you?
I don't know a Kara.
Hey, you wanna play cards with me?
I just want to drink.
Oh, come on. One game.
Make a persuasion check.
Ooh. 21.
Okay. He kind of.
Fine. What are we playing?
It's a good card game. I don't know any. What's a popular card game in Sarthia, Sean?
Not making it easy with the questions here at the beginning of the campaign, guys.
Just make something up.
Yeah, so there is a. We'll just go with a card game coming down from Roran that was made popular across the and Randalian coast, especially from people here. Call it Thuxra Hold'em. From the city of Thuxra. I like the expressions here.
Thuxra Hold'em.
Yeah, Thuxra Hold'em.
I tell him we're going to be playing that.
All right. Can make things equally as hard on you guys. So you settle down, you begin dealing out the cards, shuffling them. Is this a normal deck of cards?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Never know with you. So you begin dealing out the cards, and he takes a belt or a pouch off his belt and stirs through it, places a few gold pieces out on the table. As you begin to bet, he slides over, looks at his hand, slides out 3 gold pieces.
I'll match him.
All right. Go ahead and make a check with your. I assume you're proficient in playing cards.
No, I'm not actually.
No, you're not. Okay, we're just gonna make. You can either do an intelligence or a charisma check.
I'll do charisma.
Okay.
So 8.
All right. So you play for a bit, and he's in his drunken state, and as the cards are laid down and your final bets are in, you call his bet. He gives a smile, folds down his cards, you fold down yours, and he pulls the gold pieces back across the table towards him. You're now down 3 gold pieces.
I deserved this, but can I try to convince them into playing one more game?
He looks at the 6 gold pieces at the table and looks back to you and says, one more hand.
Okay. Should I make another check?
Yeah, go ahead and make another check.
Okay. $22. Here we go.
You rolled a natural 1. So on this hand, he actually, smiling a bit overconfident from his previous victory, looking across the table to you, picking up the cards, he folds them down and takes the 6 pieces that he got from that round and puts 5 more pieces on top of it, puts the full 11 across the table towards you. Says, all in.
Okay.
After finishing laying down the last few cards into the pot, he looks at them and kind of curses under his breath, throws them down on the table, looks over to your cards. That's just my luck. Dang it, I'm done.
Pleasure doing business with you. I'm gonna take the gold and I'm gonna leave.
Business, you too.
So you go and begin to leave the establishment with the gold that you've won.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Okay. Everybody else, as you head outside and begin to kind of enjoy the festivities, you see children playing games in the courtyard. You see you see everyone beginning to dig into the feast now that the guests are here. Commandant Fulcher and the bishop relaxing. The bishop kind of almost half asleep as well, tired from the day's events. The commandant is engaged in conversation with the stalwart captain. As the festivities continue and the sun sets, torches are lit around the fort, giving this kind of golden light that fills the area. It's dim and sort of dark, but there are a few braziers and torches lit on the corners of a few homes and throughout the courtyard. There are some shouts and there's a bit of a commotion over towards the keep as a number of soldiers come out carrying large casks of wine in hand. They come forward and set the three of them at the end of a table, at the end of where the commandant and the guard captain and the bishop are sitting. The stalwart captain stands up and says, "As I said previously, it is a pleasure to have our esteemed guests here. We have a bit of a present to offer to all of you for the long journey you've made here. We have saved, for your pleasure, the 3 barrels of the first harvest wine that we've had aged here for the past 5 years, for the Commandant and your grace." And they both give a smile, and there's some pause round, and the stalwart captain says, "And of course, after they and their guards and the noble guests have partaken, then we shall all enjoy of it together in celebration of this another bountiful harvest year, despite the adversities that we have gone through." The citizens around and the peasants kind of cheer and clap as this happens, and the casks are tapped and begin to pour out glasses of wine given to the guard captain and the nobles, and some of the guards that are not on duty begin to filter in and get some cups kind of in front of all of you. As you all, I assume some of you probably begin making your way over to try some. As you make your way over, the commandant stands with a smile on his face. You can tell as he's drinking some of it, finishes the cup, has had a few glasses at this point, looks out and says, "We appreciate the generosity here, and we look forward to our visit. We've enjoyed thoroughly." I'm sorry. What? And he begins to look at his cup, and the rest of them begin to sort of sway as well. The guard captain looks at her cup and shakes her head, and you watch as one by one each of the nobles and those that have drank of even a few sips of the wine begin to jump in place. And they have sort of a confused look on their face as they all begin to just sort of jump up and down, and they're looking at each other like something's wrong. All of them begin hopping at the same time. And the children around begin to laugh, and a few of the adults kind of as well as this happens, not really sure what's going on. And you watch as this happens, as the barrel sitting on the table, the one that they've just taken from, begins to shift and kind of move a bit. And you watch the top of the barrel, this kind of a, and then the top of the barrel comes flying off and clatters to the ground, off to the side. And pulling itself out of the cask, you see what appears to be a oversized tree frog green skin with some hides across it. It pulls itself out and goes, "Here you go." It has a dagger in its teeth, which it pulls out and looks around, kind of gives a mischievous smile and goes, "Raka, raka!" And as that does, it chances out, and you hear from the sides and the walls of the keep as well an echo, and more voices also cheering, "Raka, raka!" And you watch as the creature pulls itself from the barrel, kind of staggering to the side a bit, clearly drunk from its time spent in the barrel. You watch as 4 or 5 more of these creatures pull themselves over the wall, different colors, some green, some blue, all leap from the wall and landing on the side of it, each one carrying daggers too. A purple one leaps from the wall onto a nearby building. They begin to chant out as well. You see some others on the other side of the fort come rushing over the wall, and hear some guards begin to call out to each other, and it looks as though the fort is under attack. So I'm going to put us over to the battle map.
Just quickly, being a tabaxi and from these parts, do I know what these strange frog creatures are?
Yeah, I would say that you have a bit of knowledge as to what they are. Your people actually drove these creatures away from Thousand Steps recently, or back when years back. These are grung. So, as I said, everybody roll for initiative. All right, has everyone rolled?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so it looks like we're going to have Saren, otherwise known as Kara,
yeah.
Kara, going first. As you see these creatures leap over the walls, there are colors on there to indicate what turn or what color they are. Markers on there to determine what color they are. Words. The one on the table behind you is the drunk one that's just emerged from the cask. The one on the purple one is on top of the building.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, are the nobles still hopping?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and what is everyone else doing? Like,
the citizens that are around are fleeing. They're all running into buildings. They're running out the gates. They're getting away. The guards, currently, the ones that are not hopping, are currently rushing over to the other side to deal with the other grung that have come over the wall.
okay, I'm going to heave out a sigh, and then I'm going to head over to the green one that just emerged, which is right here. This one, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to attack it with my scimitars.
Okay.
Okay, 13 and 7 for the offhand.
The 13 hits. The
Nice.
7 misses.
It's 5 slashing.
5 points slashing. All right.
Okay, I'll end my turn there.
Okay, so you as reacting before anybody, you turn to the grung that's just emerged and is kind of wobbling to the side. Rush over to him, bring up your scimitars. You slash once, cutting across its back. It lets out kind of a shriek and turns back towards you and ducks out of the way, almost stumbling by accident out of the way of your second blade, kind of drunken fist style. you hold your turn there, both scimitars in hand. Sadell.
Well, damn. That was quick. He's gonna take his rifle off of his shoulder and take aim at the one that's on the roof over there to the left.
Okay.
Let's
From
see if
that
we can-
angle, yeah, you have a pretty clear shot of it. The roof's pretty steep, so you're good.
Cool. 19.
19 hits.
7 piercing damage.
All right, so you hold up your, steadying your thunder cannon in the direction of this grung on the roof, this purple, vibrant purple-colored frog. There's an explosion which echoes throughout this courtyard, this doosh, 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 as a projectile is sent screeching through the air, hits that grung. It kind of does a pirouette in the air and lands on its feet, just barely, blood rushing down its shoulder from where the bullet hit. Is looking very rough after that. All right, end of your turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna back up just a little bit, but that's
Okay.
the end of my turn.
Okay, Star.
Right, I am going to use my feline agility thing that lets me move double my speed. I can't use it again until I stay still on my turn.
Yeah.
So I should be able to run right up next to that one where Kara.
Okay.
And I am going to go for a stab with my short sword.
Okay.
Short sword in my main hand, dagger in my offhand.
Are you actually jumping up onto the table?
Yeah.
Okay. It won't take a check or anything. I just wanted for the visual to know if you're
Oh,
actually
yeah,
getting up on the table.
And I believe because I have an ally within 5 feet, I get a sneak attack with my main hand attack.
You do.
Haha. 16 with the short sword, 8 with the dagger.
The 16 hits, the 8 misses.
So the short sword does 12 piercing damage in total.
Okay. And that will be enough. You rush over, leaping up onto the table, barely disturbing a cup off the side of it with your feline grace. You take out your short sword and jab it through the back of this grung as it turns over towards I'm sorry, I'm trying to get used to new names, guys. Saren, stabbing totally through it and then ripping the blade out. The frog kind of and then tumbles off the table with a
Hell yeah, first kill, and that's my turn.
Okay. It is now the grung's turn. So this one over here, let's see, the green one, the only green one remaining, is going to rush straight up to you, Den. The blue one is going to rush up towards Lucius. And then the other blue one that's on the ground is actually going to leap through the air. Its long jump, or leaping 25 feet and landing directly before Lilibet here, its dagger in hand. The purple one on the roof kind of skitters over to the side and draws its dagger to throw. So that's going to be the first attack. I'm just going to go right to left. So the first attack against Lucius. That will miss you, just barely. As it strikes at you with its dagger, you're able to dodge out of the way with it, and it kind of strikes at you frantically. The other one is going to go at you, Den. That is a natural 20. For a total of, let's see, it's going to be 8 piercing and 9 poison.
Wow, I'm unconscious.
As we started our last campaign like this too, with me knocking you unconscious in the first round of combat. As the grung leaps its way towards you and stabs out a Den, you're taken off guard, and it stabs into between your armor. You feel this like pulse of poison, and immediately Den falls over towards the ground, unconscious. The last one is going to attack a little bit. That is going to miss you. It's as it strikes out at you with its dagger as well. And then the last one is going to throw its dagger in retaliation at Sadel. It's going to have disadvantage because it's too far away. So that is going to miss as it hurls its dagger towards you, and you just sidestep it, keeping your weapon trained on this frog on the roof. Lucius, it is your turn.
So I have a question. Is rending something like he can do with a weapon attack, or is that his weapon attack?
Rending is a cantrip. It's just a magical attack.
So he can do that and then do something else with like his whip if he wanted to, because it is
no, because it's an action to cast and it's an action to use your whip.
Yeah, I didn't see the thing through rending if it was a action or bonus action. So thing's gonna come up to him, he's gonna look at it and go, well, it's not something you see every day, and he's going to just at this point just stare at it and then use rending.
Okay.
So hopefully this works.
You will be at disadvantage because he is within 5 feet of you.
Okay, that's cool.
Because it's a ranged attack.
That's good to know. Disadvantage. 7.
So that's going to miss. So as you begin to conjure up, begin to pull at the soul threads in the air, and you send this kind of spark of energy out towards this grung in front of you, it dodges to the side, kind of shoulder checking you, and it knocks you backwards, and the blast goes sending off into the air. Anything else with your bonus action, or?
I can't really do anything else. Yeah, he's just gonna stay there for right now.
Okay. Lilibet.
Holy crap! So I am gonna invoke an attack of opportunity and go and do lay on hands on Den. And I'm gonna give her all 5 of my lay on hands. Buddy, wake up! This can't happen!
So it is gonna try to attack at you with its reaction. However, that misses. So it kind of you feel it scrape off the back of your chainmail, but it doesn't get through. It doesn't do any damage. As you rush up, getting down. Well, you don't really have to kneel down because you're short. Putting your hands on her and channeling the healing energies. Den, you feel yourself come back to consciousness and shake your head. At the poison itself kind of beginning to dwindle, and as it coursed through your veins.
That's it for me.
Okay, which brings it to Den's turn.
What? I guess I would like to stand up.
Okay. So use your half movement to stand back up, towering over this grung once again, which got in that lucky shot on you.
What is this? I'll take my warhammer, since he's right in front of me, and swing at that little frog.
Okay.
15?
Hits.
Alright. Oh, well, that's terrible. 4 bludgeoning damage.
Okay, so you pick up your warhammer and smack down at this frog in front of you, retaliating for the damage it did to you. It staggers backwards a bit, shaking its head from the blow, and has a sort of crazed look on its face as it leers back at you.
Can I use my bonus action to cast Healing Word on myself?
You can.
Okay, I'll do that then. Oh, 7
All right.
Healing.
Does that bring you back up to max?
It does, actually.
Just up and down, up and down. I love level 1 characters.
I feel great.
All right, and then finally in the initiative we have Barb.
Lucius,
Yeah.
should I play the music now?
Yeah. You should. Yes.
Okay. So I start plucking at my lute axe, and it makes a pretty dreadful sound. It's like down, 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 and I start getting angry.
Okay, so she pulls the lute axe from her back and she begins to strum at it. And as she does, you hear from behind you, those of you in combat, Barb, her breathing grow more ragged as she clenches down on her teeth and just kind of and goes charging into battle.
Okay. So,
So I'm
yeah,
assuming you're using your bonus action to rage.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm just gonna do my great loot.
Oh, which one are you going up to attack?
The one right next to Lucius.
Okay. So you move yourself over there, and then 12 or what? Or sorry, you rolled a 12.
Yeah.
Okay. 12
Do
will.
Do I have advantage on these things, or what? Or
No, you just have. It's just a regular attack.
so why does it do both of
That's
those
just-
things?
That's just the roll 20 thing. It rolls 2. I can turn that off for you though. After.
Yeah, because I'm never gonna need that, right?
You do get an ability later on where you can attack with advantage. It's a barbarian thing. We'll talk about it more after. But yeah, it's just the first one for now.
All right,
So
cool.
12 will hit. So go ahead and roll damage.
All right. I get 12 slashing, and I think +2 for my rage.
Yes, you do.
14.
14. So this previously unscathed grung, as you go rushing up to it, you bring up your great loot and you sling down at it, carving straight through the grung, which leaves not even almost a trace of blood, just going extremely fast through its body. The grung kind of and then falls backwards, its body splitting as it does in a grotesque display. Little frog guts all over the place. Anything else?
Did I do a good job, Lucius?
He just kind of like looks at what just happened and looks at her and just nods. You did good, kid. Very good.
All right, that brings us back to the start of the round with Saren.
Okay, so after I see Star come up and do that kill, I'm gonna look at him and I'm going to say, "Aw, hey kitty," and then I'm gonna go sprinting towards the other green one by 10,
Okay.
15, and I'll attack that one.
Okay, so rushing Lucius as you turn to Barb, and Barb, in her enraged state, is speaking to you. You watch as Saren comes rushing, almost shoulder checking you as she comes past, leaping over the frog guts and onto the other side, right next to Den and this green frog. Gonna make your attack.
12 and 15 with offhand.
Both hit.
Okay, that's 10 slashing and 1 slashing from sneak attack.
Okay, so as Den, you slam down, smacking this one on the head with your warhammer. It staggers a bit, looks back at you with that crazed look in its eye. In a flash, you see Saren or Kara come rushing to your side, taking her scimitars and slashing across the back of this grung. It lets out a screech of pain and then falls face first on the ground, kicking up a little dirt and dust as it does.
I'm gonna look up towards Dan and Lilibet. I'm gonna say, "Hey," and that's all.
Nice.
Good to see ya.
Sadell.
I will take another shot at the one on the roof.
Okay, take your shot.
Natural 20.
Ooh, man. Yeah, go ahead and roll your damage.
That is 12 damage.
12 points of damage. Okay, so you take out after dodging out of the way of the dagger being flung at you, you take aim with your thunder cannon once again and take another shot, another explosion kind of emanating through this courtyard. It connects with the top of the skull of this frog and just blows out the back of its head, scattering more frog guts all over the top of this roof. Its body kind of hits and then begins to slide off the side before falling to the ground with a
I just kind of take a look at the gun and I go, still got it.
all right. And Star.
I am going to I am just going to hop down and get over to there. On my way, I'm just throwing my short sword down and getting another dagger in my main hand, and I'm just throwing 2 daggers at him.
Okay, so you're just dropping your sword instead of putting it away. So yeah, you can bring out that. Okay, and throw your daggers. Go for
it. 7 and a 10.
Both of those unfortunately miss as you hurl both daggers in the direction of the scrung. It dodges out of the way of the first one. The second one follows suit. Both of them kind of passing behind him and embedding in the dirt in the ground on the far side of the frog creature. The grung turns back towards you and just lets out a growl.
I stick my tongue out at him and end my turn.
Okay. It is the last grung's turn. It is going to look around and it growls at Star and then looks around and sees all the dead creatures around it, watches the purple one kind of to the ground. It turns back and begins to run back towards the wall.
Can I whip it since it's 10 feet of reach?
You can, yeah.
Yes! Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Go for it.
That's a 21 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. 5 points of slashing. And I want to, hopefully, maybe, can I, pull him back? Because I whipped him?
You whipped him good, but not
Real
that
good?
Real good. Not that good, though. You are able to hit him, and as everyone just gives up.
I gotta go. I'll see you guys later.
I couldn't resist. Everyone's using whips right now. But it lashes across his back, drawing some blood through the thin rags that they wear. It kind of stumbles to the ground and picks itself up. Not enough to really grab onto him with that, but enough to halt him in his tracks temporarily. So he is currently trying to run away, but I'll say because of the hit and all that, he stops about right there and turns around, and instead of dashing and being able to get away, he's kind of frazzled in this moment after taking some damage. So that will put it to Lucius's turn.
What is the range on rending?
It says on the thing it's 60 feet.
60 feet? Yeah, I just looked at it.
Yeah.
It doesn't say it. Oh yeah, okay, 60 feet. Sweet. I'm pretty sure Yep, he's gonna try this again. Shoot.
Okay.
11
misses. So you do it again, begin to conjure up that energy and sending it out towards this grung. It after stumbling from taking that attack of opportunity, kind of falls down a bit, and the energy passes over, hits the wood of the buildings behind it, or the wall behind it. You can see the wall kind of splinter a bit from the impact, but it misses the grung, unfortunately.
This is what happens with new creatures.
End of your turn. Lilibet.
Okay, well, you can't get away from me. And she runs up to here and takes her warhammer just from her back, one-handed, holds the whip in the other one, and just slashes down.
Okay.
Maybe. And warhammer one-handed. That's a 19 to hit.
That hits.
4 bludgeoning.
And as this one's trying to get away, you take out your warhammer, you smack it on the top of the head. It takes the impact and kind of grabs on the back of its head, staggering a bit. Has blood running down the back of its neck. Is looking really rough at this point, but it's still standing there, kind of wobbling from side to side.
Guys, a little help!
Dan, it is your turn.
You should have run. I'm gonna sacred flame the frog.
Okay. So it'll make a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah.
It fails its save.
Well, because I'm the queen of good damage rolls, it takes 3 radiant damage.
Only had 2 hit points left. So the sacred flame comes down from the heavens. It's kind of this orb of light forms above the grung, and it just has a half a second to look up and see the light before you call it down. It screeches in pain as the smell of cooked frog begins wafting through the courtyard. After the light subsides, it's kind of charred and cooked husk standing there and kind of falls backwards onto the grass. As combat begins to end and the final blows are had, you all turn back and look towards the chaos going on in the courtyard. You see that the soldiers have fought off most of them, but you watch as one of the grung has apparently, as you were preoccupied here, you see a red or an orange colored grung with a very beautiful short sword in hand, rushing out the gates and disappearing into the over the bridge beyond, with a few others gathered behind it. And you turn over and you see the jumping commanders all looking around frustrated, and you do notice that Commander Race's sword is no longer on her hip. All of them are unscathed, though, as the conflict ends. So let's come out of initiative there.
Hate frogs.
So, what in the world was that?
Those things that they're called grungs. I don't know what they were doing here. Unless someone can tell me what the hell was going on nearby and why they may have attacked, then I have no other information.
Do they normally do this, or is it just random?
As far as I'm aware, they haven't been too much of a problem recently. I haven't been home for a while, so I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry, Kara. Go. I cut you off. I apologize.
Oh, it's nothing.
They're all still jumping up and down.
Do I know anything about
he kind
that?
of turns because he really didn't notice it, and then he's just watching them.
Are they also jumping up and down?
Let me double check that. I'll see how long it lasts for. They you see a couple of them have stopped, but others are still doing it. They look really frustrated by it, especially the bishop, who probably has not jumped in a long time.
Is oh gosh, what's her name? Not the commander. Captain
Stalwart Captain Race.
Yeah.
She is just now coming out of it and kind of stops for a second. You see sweat coming down her brow. I hate these creatures.
Has this happened before?
Yes. This is we should stop them from jumping. And she looks over towards the commandant and the bishop, who are still jumping, and a few of the nobles. She says, I will tell you in a second. We should probably deal with them first.
What's the easiest way for this to stop?
If you can, it's a form of poison. So if you have anything that can fix that.
Can I?
I'm guessing I can't like mend people better.
No, it doesn't work like that.
I walk over to who's probably having the most trouble. The bishop. Oh, because he's super old. I just clank right over to the bishop, and I just grab him on the shoulders. And I just hold him on the ground, so he can't jump until he stops.
Kind of stands there, and you feel him kind of like working against it, and he looks to you with sort of a look of thanks on his brow, as his cheeks and his forehead are red from the exertion. Being drunk and forced to go through that much labor is not a good combination.
Poor guy.
But as you guys, good.
Just wondering, how tall is the commandant? Like, how tall does he stand?
He's probably just over 6 feet tall.
Since he's probably a bit tall for me to just sort of hold in place, I'm gonna wait till he's like at the height of his jump, then just push him over.
Okay, so I'm gonna make you make a. Whenever you make an athletics check, you have advantage on it though.
Ha! 7.
So you go over as he jumps in the air, you kind of check him, but he is a heavy dude with that full plate armor, and he kind of staggers forward a bit, catches his feet, and then continues jumping. But after a few seconds after that, he does make his save against it. So he begins to stop, and it lessens, and then finally the effects wear off.
Can I do something while you guys are all trying to stop the jumping?
Sure.
Okay. Lil runs over to the casks over here, and she wants to like basically examine the wine, not drink any, but definitely get a whole nose full. See if she can get the tones or the stuff to see if she can tell what properties that the frog inherit or the grun put into the wine.
Okay, I'm going to ask you because I'm not sure. What kind of check are you looking to make with this? Is this something specific to your Venter's ability or something?
Yeah, I think so. Like I want to learn, like, because I know what regular wine smells like, and I know what regular properties wine should have in the nose, and I want to learn if I can kind of figure out what was infused.
Okay. Do you have some sort of proficiency with like wine making? Brewer's tools?
Well, the only thing it said brewer's tools, but I'm making like I took that kind of liberty with to make it wine tools.
Okay, make a check with that, but using wisdom.
Okay, here we go, guys. 18.
18. So you go over and the cask's currently open. It's about half full at this point. You go over and you kind of sniff inside. You get the tones, and it's definitely wine, and is definitely something that has been. It's not a Verandali, and it's not any of the vintages that you are familiar with. Probably local. The tones that you're getting are none that are familiar to you. However, Sorry, I have a bit of a head cold, so toads and all that. I'm having trouble enunciating with that. You definitely get the hint of something else, and that it has been contaminated with something, probably the frog.
Silly question, but is the wine still? Does it still smell right, or does it smell rancid? Because in terms of what my interests are, would Lil know, like, okay, the wine's still good, but there's something added on there that caused the effect.
The wine is good. The wine is fine. It just looks like something has been added to it.
Then she takes out her dagger and goes over and takes a little piece of skin off of one of the not charred dead ones.
Okay.
She puts it in her bag.
Okay, so you go over, you're actually like picking the skin off of it. Okay, so as you touch the skin of the creature, I do need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, good. Yep. 13?
Okay, that is enough, I believe. Yes, you feel like your fingers go a bit like tingly from the sensation of touching the skin, but it kind of wears off as you throw it into your bag.
I'm gonna uncork my bottle of white wine I have in my bag and stick it in, and then I'm gonna recork it and walk out.
Okay, and I'm asking, is this one of the green ones or the blue ones?
Ooh.
The green one is the one that came out of the. One of the green ones is the one that came out of the barrel.
Yeah, then.
But there were also blue ones. Oh, there was a purple one too.
Yeah, I can't get that one's on the roof. I'm gonna go ahead and because
It's actually on the ground now.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the green one that's over here.
Okay.
Over by Den and Kara.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, you can do that.
I went unconscious during the fight.
Yes, you do. You need to make a Constitution saving throw. This is one of the homebrew rules that we have for lingering injuries for going unconscious. So I'm going to make a Constitution save.
13?
You're okay. You only went conscious once, and you didn't fail any death saves, so
Okay, good.
you're good.
Do you want to talk about the rule?
But yeah, essentially, if you go unconscious during the fight, you have to make a Constitution saving throw at the end of it. The DC is determined by how many times you went unconscious and how many death saves you failed. If you fail the saving throw, you get to, or I roll on the lingering injury table, and that can accumulate over time. You get worse and worse injuries. So, just a brief summary.
Cool, thanks.
All right. Anything else?
Yes. 2 questions. One, so like when I'm in combat and stuff, like how long do I know that I rage for a minute or it ends early, but like how long are the turns?
6 seconds. So you can rage for 10 turns.
Okay, so am I technically still raging?
At the end of combat you'd have about 6 to 12 seconds before your rage would end. Unless you want to attack somebody.
All right. And question, is there fire nearby?
Is there fire nearby? There are some torches lit. And there is a brazier kind of towards the center of the courtyard.
Anything that I can cook a frog leg on?
Yeah, that could work.
Okay. I would like to walk over to a frog and I would like to chop off a leg.
Okay. There is an already cooked frog. But do you want to cook your own?
Yeah, I want to cook my own frog.
Okay. One of the blue ones, green ones, or purple?
I guess the blue one.
Okay. So you go over and you hack the leg off of this frog and go to pick it up. As you pick up the frog leg, you get that same tingling sensation that Lilibet did. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as well.
Eight.
Okay. So you pick it up and you feel that tingling sensation. You feel fine, except you have the urge to shout very, very loudly. And in fact, as long as you are holding on to this frog leg, you must shout loudly or otherwise make a loud noise at the start every 6 seconds. As you carry it across the courtyard to go cook it, I assume. So you all watch as Barb cuts the leg off of this frog and then carrying it away, shouting and screaming at nothing, over to one of the braziers where she begins to cook it.
Is she okay? Is she okay?
Well, I think that's like her version of singing. It sounds kind of like her playing, to be honest.
From what I heard on the ship, maybe.
It's something you get used to after a while.
Do I hear them saying this?
I'm going to say no over the sound of your own shouting.
Guys, she's doing a barbaric yelp!
I don't know what that means.
Rage yelling. That's all. Rage yelling.
Is that like singing?
It's her version of singing.
She's fun. I like her.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just like drop the frog leg and see if it stops.
Okay, if you put down the frog leg, you can like put rest in the over some of the. They were cooking some meats and stuff, so you can actually put it on one of the racks that they have their cooking stuff on and place it down. And you stop as you let go of it. A few seconds pass, and the urge to yelp stops.
Obviously, I run back to them and explain all of this. Like, guys, okay, so the frog made me want to yell about things, and I think the other one made them want to jump a lot, and I don't know what the purple one does, but this is weird.
What would I know about the Grung's venom if they're sort of from the area?
Go ahead and make. Do you have like a nature? Do you have proficiency in nature?
Not nature, but I do survival.
Okay, survival would work.
Oh, natural 20, 23 total.
Okay, nice. So you know everything about grunts. You do know that from the stories told, they were a nuisance to the Tabaxi back when they were kind of first settling into Thousand Steps after leaving some of their previous cities. They were driven out, but you do know some of the stories, and they were taught to you, especially by your mentor, who kind of roamed the wilds a lot. They have a natural, like, toxic substance that they secrete from their bodies. It's kind of skin to skin contact is not a good thing against them, and that's how they sort of spread that poison. They all have varying effects, ranging from what you've seen, the jumping, shouting, usually nothing too sinister. However, it can be a bit of a nuisance for people that are encountering them. They also coat their weapons in this poison as well, which they use to, which some people experienced firsthand.
Grungs are really, really fascinating. Okay, like I can't remember how long ago it was. I haven't heard all the stories in a while, but so long ago they originally settled within the 10,000 Steps themselves, and many people, when traveling to the 10,000 Steps to settle there, are the ones who actually drove them off and back into the more.
Does
wild
everyone
areas.
in this country talk this much all the time?
Some of the older ones can ramble on a bit.
Star, you were saying, go ahead, continue.
Anyway, the Grungs themselves, they have a special toxin or venom as we've so discovered this off their skin. They also coat their weapons in it. Do I know specifically what the other types of venom would do, or would I have any kind of inkling?
Well, you have a first-hand idea of what the green one does, and which is the jumping. The purple or the blue one, you saw its effects on Barb. The others you aren't entirely sure. Some of them are more rare. The more common one, the purple grung, you know that it essentially creates some sort of compulsion to soak oneself in water or mud or something like that. As far as there are other colors of them, red, orange, and the rarest of them being the golden ones, which are usually the leaders of the grung. You're not entirely sure what they do, but yeah. So I'd say that's about all you got.
So we know what these ones do. Mr. Purple over there, he would make you really want to take a bath. I really don't like those ones. About the other one we saw and what other grung there are, I don't know.
The creatures in this country are strange.
Barb runs over to the purple one.
Oh.
And
Is there any part of any of their weapons I can touch that doesn't affect me? Can I tell if it's on there?
of their weapons, go to make a perception check.
Nine.
Okay. As far as you can tell, they don't look poisoned.
Okay, I'm going to grab, like, I'm gonna take some cloth and I'm gonna grab the weapon and I'm gonna run at Star.
Okay. So they have some daggers. So you pick up one of the daggers from the purple one and you go running at Star. How do each of you react to this, or what are each of you doing?
Can I just like grab the nearest grung to me and try to throw it at her?
Grabbing one of the grungs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lil
What are you
wants to
grabbing it
run
by?
up within range and whip the weapon out of her hand.
Okay, so we got a couple things going on here. So we've got Barb rushing at Star, dagger in hand for some reason. We've got the Star. You are trying to grab one of the grung from the ground to hold it up as a shield. How are you grabbing this grung?
Not throw it, not hold it up shield. I want to like grab
Oh,
it.
to throw it.
Just the edge of its arms, just wing it around and throw it at her.
Okay. So from where you were last on the field, I'm gonna say that it'll probably be the green one. So you go and grab onto the green one a little bit. You come rushing up with your whip. So at the same time, I would like Star to make first a Constitution saving throw as he grabs onto the grung's arm, and then Lilibet, I'm gonna have you make a just make an attack roll with your whip.
That's a 9.
That was an 8 on my Constitution saving throw.
Okay, so Lil, you whip at the air and it kind of cracks right next to Barb, but misses her as she comes rushing forward with the dagger in hand. And are you like holding the dagger like you're gonna stab, or you're just holding it in cloth and just rushing up?
No, I'm basically like, I'm holding it like a na-na-na-na-na-na.
Okay, so you're rushing up. Star, as you grab the grung and you go to hurl it, you feel that twinge is through your hand, and you immediately drop the grung and start hopping.
I have no words. None.
I'm
We
just
do have important
laughing.
things to attend to.
He's literally talking to himself at the moment. He's like, I have no words.
Which stalwart Captain Race is still standing about like 20 feet away after finishing up with her guards and directing them back to their posts and to make sure none are around. It's just sort of standing over there with her arms crossed and a very perplexed look on her face.
Please tell me I make it over there, Star.
You do make it over to Star. You're right up with him with the dagger in hand.
Okay, I start rubbing him.
Okay, so Star, I'm going to need you to make another Constitution saving throw against the purple poison.
God. 4.
4. So as that poison now sinks into you, you feel the effects of the jumping wear off, and now you feel an intense urge to go soak yourself in water or mud or whatever the closest form of liquid is to you. And there is a big barrel of wine on the table.
I'm going to swim in some wine.
So you go over, you immediately pick up the cask of wine and just dump it, like soaking yourself through, your white fur now being stained with this crimson red wine that is washing over your body.
I just look over at Barb and just say, I will get you for this. One day.
I actually need you to make another Constitution saving throw, because that is the one that's filled with the green grung poison.
12?
Okay, you resist that. You feel that urge to jump come back on, but you shrug it off, and you maintain your sense of self. As this happens, the stalwart captain comes walking forward. She says, "While this has been very entertaining, we should probably speak."
Oh, yeah.
So,
Does this happen a lot?
more often than I'd care to admit.
When did the Grung first start showing up?
They have been a thorn in our sides for years now, since we've established the fort. Come inside the keep. We will speak there. I can inform the commandant and the bishop as well. They are probably going to want to hear this, and it's not going to be good for our inspection.
If you could make sure there's just a bowl of water for me. That actually, never mind. And I just start washing myself as a cat would.
So licking the poison wine off of
crap,
your.
yeah, it's poisoned, isn't it?
Oh wait.
Yeah, make sure there's a bowl of water waiting for me somewhere, please. Just glare at Bob again.
Okay. You the guard captain gives a nod. She says, "Yes, I will have one of my. We shall prepare a bath for you, and we'll speak in a few minutes. All of you take some time to rest or whatever you may need. We will be in the commander's office in Zakip whenever you are ready. So, take some time. Yes.
Oh no, this is out of game.
Yes.
This is a captain that doesn't have the sword at her side anymore.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she goes and turns back and starts walking towards the keep. You can tell there was an air of confidence to her and joy when the festivities began, and there's definitely sort of a storm cloud hanging over her as she walks in. The commandant and the bishop have also disappeared a few minutes prior into the keep. The commandant did not look too happy. So as Star goes to wash off, the rest of you go and it may do whatever you wish. We'll go ahead and take our break here because this is a good point to do so. We will come back in. Is 10 minutes enough for everyone? Or does that need a little more time? 10 minutes?
10's good.
Okay.
Me,
So
I
that's...
don't have to do anything, so I'll just say quickly, I'll be probably just checking out the chat, and if people have any questions specifically for me or about a couple of little things, I can answer them. Other things may have to wait for the mods or till Sean's available.
Yeah, and I think some of them will field questions to me that I can answer quickly after the break when we come back. But yeah, so let's say 7:35 Eastern time. This one will be back 10 minutes. All right. All right. Welcome back, everyone. So before we jump back in, there were a couple questions that I think I can answer pretty quickly. One is I saw somebody, or I was told that somebody was asking about proficiencies and whether I let people make skill checks that they're not proficient in. The answer is I do. I just like to ask just to know for my own interest where they're getting the information from, like what checks they're proficient in. If you're not proficient in a check, I'd usually just have it be a straight skill check. So if I ask your proficient Arcana and you're not, I'll just say make an intelligence check instead. But good question there. The other one is somebody's asking if about posting a world map. I do have a world map, and I actually just posted it to Twitter. I had posted it a while back, and it just had got lost in my feed and stuff. So that is on there if anyone wants to go and check it out. I do have it available on, we use it occasionally for the stream, but it doesn't come up that often. So you can go check that out there at the Kraken King Twitter. So yeah, I think those were the big questions I thought I could go ahead and answer quickly. Other ones I saw about home rules or kind of homebrew stuff, I could get into that. There are a bunch of others a bunch of things that we do that I think the mods have already gone through. I co-opted Critical Role's Resurrection Ritual. I've made some modifications to it, but it's pretty much the same as that, as well as what you guys saw with the lingering injuries. Those are the two big ones that we do. But yeah, keep those coming. So we will go ahead and come back into it, get some music going. So as you all have a few moments to relax and recuperate before heading inside, is anybody, besides Star bathing, is anybody going to be doing anything before going and meeting with the stalwart captain?
Barb, would you explain what that was about, please?
What?
All of that. You do understand these people need to be our friends, right?
What are you talking about?
You know, I should be used to this. I really should. But every time it happens, I'm confused, and I must admit, it was hilarious because, I mean, did you see his fur? It was brilliant.
Thank you!
It was amazing. But just know, these people do need to be our friends, so just be careful.
I
Just
wasn't that mean.
No,
I
I'm
was
not.
just playing.
Well, I understand that, and I get that, but he might not, and the other Tabaxi might not either. So just be warned. That's all I'm saying.
Fine.
Okay.
Sorry, kitty.
And he lightly, I guess, smacks her leg with his tail.
Okay.
Lilibet runs up to Den now that she's gotten her piece of skin, and there are pieces of eight in pirate worlds. There's pieces of skin in Lil's world. And goes up and says, "Den, are you okay? You took a big hit there, and that didn't look so good."
Oh, yeah. I'm fine.
You sure?
I think so.
Okay.
Do I look funny?
It just looked really painful. Like you went down hard.
I mean, it hurt. Yeah. I'm alright.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just be careful.
Yeah, well, thanks for the healing thing.
Yeah, I do what I can. So, want some more wine?
Yeah.
Not that wine. Let's get good wine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys go and get some wine from some of the barrels that you had already that seem safe, and the other ones have been carted off and brought somewhere else. But there are some wine barrels around. Not as many people drinking out of them as there were previously, and it seems like many of the townsfolk have abandoned the fort and have gone back to their own cottages or their own dwellings. But you guys are able to get some some flasks of wine and able to drink some more as your celebration was interrupted. Anybody else? So after spending some time and getting a chance to take a breather after that fight, and after the long journey here, you're all summoned into the keep, and one by one, you all sort of in groups, you guys filter inwards, entering through the large double doors of the keeps, which are currently open. You enter a sprawling main hall. There are tables equally spaced throughout with guards currently conversing and resting at them, those that aren't currently on duty. There are some hallways leading out off to the sides, but as you enter, one of the stalwart keepers looks to actually has 1 star on his armor, indicating his rank. He comes stepping forward. He says,
Captain Reese wanted to speak with you. Do you come with me, please? Okay. All right. Just follow me.
Waiting for you.
Okay.
Lead on.
He turns around and kind of walks off, kind of looking over his shoulder and making sure you're following him. Looks a little skittish. Is pretty young, human, dark hair, kind of baby-faced. He leads you to the back of the hall and down a corridor to the right. There is a set of stairs that spirals up, and you go up to an upper level. Walking down that hallway, you come to a large set of oaken double doors. He raps on them twice. You hear a voice from in.
Come in. Bring them in. And he swings the doors open and escorts all of you.
As you enter the room, you see that the guard captain, or the stalwart captain, Race, and the commandant and the bishop are all gathered in there. The bishop currently sitting in a chair, kind of tired looking. The commandant pacing across the carpet, and the captain standing on the other side of the desks, her arms crossed. She looks a little dejected and a little bit frustrated, and she looks out towards you and she says,
Close the door once you're in. We will talk about this now. I appreciate you all coming here. The commandant was filling me in about who you are and why each of you has traveled to Graudar with this delegation. You all seem very capable in the fight. So, I guess we will get to it. One of you asked if we had been having problems with Segrung before. I will inform you that we have. For some time now, they have been a plague upon our lands. We have lost contact and not been able to contact the Tabaxi for a few months now, considering because of Segrung. They have attacked and raided every wagon and squadron we have sent to the south into the Caldera, making travel nearly impossible. We even had a farm that was abandoned a few weeks back because of the Tabaxi, or because of the Graudar, the Grung. They have so many words here. I'm so confused and been poisoned for far too long. The Grung have taken over the farm, and we have not been able to recover it. The most troubling news that we've had, besides this attack today, is that they have been stealing livestock, tools, various objects from the peasantry, the workers of the farms, making life almost unbearable for them, difficult to bring in the harvest. We were trying to put on a good face and for our guests before bringing up the bad news. Did not know that there would be an attack so soon.
And your sword got stolen, didn't it?
It did. I am confused as to why they would do that. I have had some fights with Zigrong before. We sent a party that I led into the jungles to root them out. However, I do not know why they would steal the sword from me.
It's not important.
It's a blade that my grandfather made and passed down through our family. I do not know. It doesn't have any significance other than that it is a family heirloom. I do not know why Zigrong would want it.
Do they work with other people or other creatures in the forest?
No, they are vicious creatures. They work by themselves. They do kidnap and tame other beasts for their purposes. I've seen them with spiders and other creatures that they have bent to their will. They've attempted to, and we believe been successful at kidnapping and taking some of the citizens here as well. Just 3 days ago, 4 children went missing who were playing outside the walls of the fort. We have not been able to locate them.
So you have no idea where the attacks are coming from? They just started at random?
They come from the forests around. As we had cut down the trees to make way for the farmland, the attacks became more and more common until about a year and a half ago when they've been happening nearly every week.
And the innkeep, what's his name? Renly?
Renly, yes.
Right. He said that the pass to the Tabaxi city was impassable. Is that also because of the grung?
Yes. I'm getting some typing.
Is that also because of the grung?
Yes, that was. There is only one way into the Caldera, into the World Child's cradle, and the Tabaxi homeland that is convenient for us for trade. Far Commerce Pass to the south. We have not been able to send merchants or forces through the pass because as they enter the forest, they are attacked within a few miles.
Well, that's not good.
It sounds like you need some help dealing with these guys.
Yes, and that is why we brought you here. My soldiers are spread thin enough as it is. I cannot spare very many to hunt down these creatures, as vicious as they are. We must post all available forces at the surrounding farmlands and within the fort itself to prevent attacks as what happened today. We will not be able to have a celebration like this again until the problem is taken care of.
Do they have any kind of leadership, or are they just animals?
We have been able to find some information. We do not understand their language, but we have been able to capture and interrogate one of their kind before. They refer to themselves as the Ruka Ruka tribe. That is how they are referred to by denizens of these lands. We were able to speak to some of the Tabaxi that were trading with us before trade was cut off. They gave us some information that was helpful. The chief of this tribe is called Terakawa, also referred to as the Mountain Jumper.
It's a good name.
And has a right hand, which you might have seen earlier, the one that took my sword, Gurawog, called Bone Biter by his people, is the right hand of Tarakawa.
Captain, you said that they started attacking after you began cutting down the forests, correct?
Yes, that is how when they intensified.
And did you continue to cut down those forests?
For the time, we needed to clear out land for the farm so we could live here.
This is their native land. I understand why they'd been angry. Have you attempted to come up with a compromise with them, or?
Is she human? Sorry, but is she human?
No, she's half elf.
Half elf. Okay, thank you.
She gives a nod and she says, as we did with the Tabaxi when we first established our fort here, we would gladly speak with them and come to some sort of arrangement to prevent from disrupting their home. However, as time has gone on, they have done nothing but attack us on sight.
I see.
It's going to be strange, but I do kind of feel for them. I understand where both sides are coming from, but at the same time, to them, you are outsiders trying to encroach upon their lands. But you, if you do what you say you do, and I believe you do, are trying to set up communications and they refuse to do it, you're in a very big bind. And I do not envy what you have to do.
To be fair to the fort, I don't think anyone here is kidnapping kids.
No, and that is a fair point as well. These creatures are not, as we would say, the good or they do many terrible things from what we have heard from the Tabaxi and the natives of this land. They kidnap people, they poison them, subjugate them, and keep them just healthy enough so they will do their bidding. They are vile and evil little creatures that seek nothing but to kill and destroy all that live here.
Sounds kind of like home.
And that is before we even arrived.
I'll admit they've never really been that pleasant. If you run into one, it'd be best just to run. You know, I was always told by some people, if you ever saw a frog in the woods, stay away. You never know when there'll be a grung nearby.
Do they kidnap your people too?
Occasionally there'll be a few stories, but from what I remember, they were never really too active.
So what caused them to be active now?
Sounds
Besides-
like loss of the forest, but then also attacks of opportunity. If you've got a new group come in, you see what their strengths are and try to take advantage of the weaknesses.
It's what I would do.
Yeah, the
It's
fort
what I have
is
done.
a lot closer than the Tabaxi city.
That is true.
Plus, if they run the forest, it's easy for them to get in and out.
Whatever the solution will be, we must act soon. Unfortunately, the shops around here are running low on supplies. And we cannot go much longer like this.
Well, we can't let people starve. And we can't let them keep taking kids.
No.
We're
I
going
was-
to be one starving soon, too.
I was
if
sent
we
here to
don't-
do something, so what is it you need? Or what is it you have in mind, let me say?
Well, as I said, we don't have very many leads as to where they might be. We only know what has been happening. As I said, there is a farm near the southernmost farm in the valley has been abandoned because of these attacks. It would be beneficial and good for our cause to reclaim it.
How big is this farm?
The farm itself is a few acres, potato, wheat, other staple crops for the fort here. Things that we need.
If we're able to reclaim it, are you going to be able to get guards to keep it safe?
That is what we were hoping. With the addition of the guards brought by the commandant, maybe posting a few there might help. Unfortunately, they are still recovering from the incident earlier, and so they will not be much help right now. Once they are recovered, we might be able to provide some guarding for the farm. There is also obviously the matter of the missing children. We do not know where they might be. I can only assume that the Grung have taken them. And then there is another more recent issue that we have not yet been able to take care of, or know if it is a problem at all. The eastern outpost that we have stationed only 10 or 15 miles from here is 3 days late reporting.
How close to the coast, to the eastern coast, would you say this station is?
To the coast itself, maybe 3 miles. It is in less habitable land than the valley.
I was going to say that's null territory.
Oh, it is not that far. It is only about, as I said, about 10 miles from here. I assume you speaking of the Demon's Breach in the far to the east. That is many days' journey from here.
Would we happen to know what gnolls are? Like our characters, other than Star?
I'd say you probably have a general idea of what they are as far as knowing much about them. They're pretty common sort of threat.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, it's one of those gnolls. Oh, so like your people, but dogs. That's basically all I know. 3 days late?
Yeah, 3 days, which is abnormal.
Was there anything in the last report you did receive that would give you any cause for alarm?
Nothing out of the usual. They only encounter the few Grung in the area, the same as we do. Fought them off without too much difficulty.
How big is this outpost?
Not very large. It is situated in the pass that leads to the east of here. We stationed the outpost there to give forewarning in case there was any sort of attack.
20, 30 people?
Oh, no, not that many, maybe 10.
Well, with what we saw today, it's probably not unheard of for these creatures to try to get through.
That is possible.
The casks of wine that they managed to get their friend in, you said you guys have had those sealed up since when?
Those casks were from the first harvest. From what we have been able to determine from the guards that were protecting the cellars, one of them had left his post for temporarily, unscheduled, and we believe that is when the Grung had made their way inside.
How long ago was that?
earlier today. Part of the celebrations and the festivities, security was a bit relaxed.
That's some fast-acting stuff.
Well, yes. Any contact with those creatures is instantly harmful to those that do not possess immunity to it.
Sounds like we got a job to do, guys. You want to go and check out the farm?
Yeah.
As much as I would love to check out the farm, I think getting the kids would probably be more time sensitive.
Well, the farm is our only lead to the kids. It's the only place we know where the Grung are.
We
Do you
don't
have
know where
any trackers? Star, you're from here. Do you know this area? Can you track? If we go to the farm, could we see where they're coming from?
See, I spent about a week and a half in the fort itself, just looking around. For the area around, if we find the farm, then maybe we may be able to find one that speaks a common language that we can all question as well.
All right.
Do we know how these guys live? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
From what we are able to know or have learned from experiences, they mostly live at the trees, have small hovels and shacks that they have built into the trees themselves. But we have not been able to find a common living area. They are very spread out through the forests.
Kind of gives more reason why they are really pissed off at you for cutting their homes down.
And I'm sure that is the case. We would love to come to some sort of arrangement with them if that was at all possible. Unfortunately, at this point, and with the missing children and the attacks, I do not believe that...
That's probably... They don't want to talk.
Yes.
I understand. Oh, Sean.
Yeah.
Does Lucius have anything from Oasis by any chance? Like a sigil, a catchphrase?
I think, yeah, in order to sort of get onto the vessel, you would have had to show them some sort of, I'm going to say that you have some sort of document that has a letter of introduction, essentially.
All right, that's cool.
Okay. With that, the commandant who's been pacing back and forth stops, looks over, and says, "Whatever the situation is, we need to have it dealt with as quickly as possible. We have to spend our time preparing for this, for the delegation to travel into the World Child's Cradle and to the Tabaxi City. If we are not prepared to... If we are dealing with these creatures, we will not be able to make it there safely. So, if you can deal with this as quickly as possible, we will be in your debt."
When is the delegation going to move from here to the Tabaxi City?
We had planned to stay in Fort Harrington for a few weeks.
So it's not like you are leaving tomorrow.
No, but any delay caused by these creatures is going to
hurt everything.
Yes, and the longer we take, the longer that Ondok here has to infiltrate or disrupt our plans.
I completely understand.
Well,
as I'm sure you do.
I need a nap.
You did almost die today.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, by the way?
All fine now.
Good.
Thank you.
No, I get it.
We should
What time is it
probably
here?
sleep before we go anywhere.
Oh, the sun set hours ago.
Okay. Well, it's probably not a good idea to traverse the forest at night. I could be wrong, though. He looks at Star. could be wrong?
Things to watch out for: various beasts, insects, spiders, bugs, certain predators and carnivores. Oh, and never chase glowing balls of light out there. That's very important.
Did you say glowing balls of light?
You could have just said, no, don't go into the forest at night. But thank you for the
Wait,
complete rundown.
why are there glowing lights in the forest? I want to know.
Me too.
Fairies, sprites. Have you? Do you not have stories like this back where you're from?
What?
I've lived in the city most of my life. The other lights you see there, completely different.
I'm from under the ocean. So
Oh,
no.
well, okay.
That explains everything.
Well, there are a lot of strange stories tied to different fairies over here. The most common being if a child sees a fairy's lights at night and goes chasing it, the child will disappear.
Well, that's good to know.
When
Oh.
were the kids kidnapped? During
was-
the day?
I
Or
was
at
going to
night?
ask the same thing. Are we sure that they were taken by the frog people and not
And not the
Like-
fairies.
fairies?
When were they taken? It looks to the commander.
From the reports that we have, it was late, in the evening at some point. The sun was setting. They were playing at the end of the day.
Yeah, that would have been really nice to know. It's good we asked.
Dar, do you think the Grung could have made good with the sprite fairy people?
We don't need to talk about the fairies.
Do you have a problem with fairies? Kara?
I just think that's an illogical assumption.
All right. Well, I need to sleep,
Alright.
and then I guess we get directions to this farm.
We'll leave in the morning.
place, and we leave in the morning.
I will have some of my soldiers point you in the direction of the farm when you wish to leave.
Thanks.
Thank you for this. And the commandant kind of gives a gruff nod and says, yes, thank you for your work, and we'll speak more on the convoy to Thousand Steps as soon as we're able. So, all right. And he kind of looks to the bishop and gives a nod, and he goes walking out of the room too. The bishop stands and kind of rubbing his eyes as he was half asleep during this conversation. Says, "Pleasure speaking with all of you. Good luck." And goes out of the room too as you all leave, closing the door behind you. You can just faintly through the door hear Reese curse or say some sort of profanity in Elvish. And as you all make your way out of the keep and over towards the Outcast Inn, where you have rooms ready for you. Renly is kind of cleaning up. Most of the patrons are gone at this point. Sort of tired-eyed, looks over to all of you and says, "The rooms are just in the back. Plenty of open ones, so just take your pick."
Before we head to our rooms, I want to pull Lilibet aside for a second, away from everybody.
Okay.
Now, Lilibet, are you sure you want to be doing this?
Yeah, why not? What else are we gonna do?
Well, it's just that I did tell Ferrore I'd take care of you. And I would hate to see the look on her face if I came back to your Vrandal to South Harbor without you. And I know you can take care of yourself, but I just wanted to make sure you really thought about it before we jumped into this.
Well, those frog guys weren't so bad. I mean, Den got hit really hard, but I'm okay. That was a fun fight. I'm ready for some more.
Okay. Well,
Do you not want to go? Do you
Well-
need an excuse?
well, no, it's not that. It's just, I'm just looking out for you.
but I think I appreciate your help, and I'll let you know if it's not working.
Okay. Thank you, Lilibet. I'll see you tomorrow.
Get some sleep, Sedell. It's gonna be okay, I promise.
You too.
I am just loving that exchange so much. As you all separate and make your way to your rooms, which there are ample provided for you in this 2-story inn, you all kind of get to collapse down into a bed for one of the first times. Star, are you going to say something?
So just quickly, on our way back through to the inn, were the Grung corpses still out?
The guards were currently gathering them up in sheets and throwing them onto a cart.
Okay, there's something I want to do when I know everyone's gone to bed and is most likely asleep.
Okay.
Payback.
So you all settle down for the evening, going off to sleep, resting in beds once again instead of the hammocks and cots provided for you on the ship for a number of weeks. You're able to drift off and get your full night's rest. But halfway through the evening, Star, as you wait patiently in your room, what would you like to do?
First thing I want to do is look out. Is the cart with the Grung corpses still there?
So you head outside and you poke your head around. You actually see that the cart has been taken to like near the front gates, but you still see a wagon that's piled up with these bodies inside of it.
Okay, brilliant. First thing I want to do is sneak into sort of the kitchen area. Just find, I don't know, maybe a slice of bread or an oat cake or something similar.
Okay. I'm just gonna, for the sake of all this, just gonna have you make a stealth check.
Give me a second. Where's my character sheet? $11?
11. Okay. So you go sneaking through the house and into the kitchen. You can hear through a door in the back the snoring of Renly from a bedroom back there. You sneak into the kitchen and kind of go rustling through some cabinets. As you do, there's a moment where one of the utensils hanging on a hook on the wall actually gets knocked off and kind of ting clatters to the ground. You freeze for a second. Look back towards the room. You hear kind of a, but that doesn't seem to disturb beyond that.
Okay, when I've got what I'm looking for, I sneak out to the cart, just like holding them just by the edges. I rub a couple of like, well, the oatcakes or whatever, just a little bit of them on the Grung corpses.
Which one? Which color? Purple, blue, or green?
Did I only grab like one individual thing, or have I got numerous of one thing?
I'm gonna say you have one oatcake.
I'm gonna rub it on the purple one.
The purple one, okay.
Yeah.
So you take the edges and you kind of just gently sort of rub across the oil on the dead purple one's body. Taking it back, you look it over and kind of sniff it. Like it's got like the slightest tinge of musk to it, but it's almost barely noticeable.
That's fine. Then I would like to sneak into Barb's room and just sort of place that on her bedside table, hopefully in a way where she'd see it as soon as she wakes up.
Okay, so you make your way back to the inn. You're sneaking your way up to the stairs. I'm gonna have you make another stealth check.
15.
Okay. So you begin making your way into the room. Kyle, were you going to say something?
Because Lucius and Barb know each other and their background, they would probably be in the same room.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
What are both of your passive perceptions?
15.
15? Okay.
10.
10. Okay. So you don't stir at all, Barb, and as you make your way into the room, Star just kind of creeping across the ground. You take the cake and you begin to go place it over onto the bedside table next to Barb's, where Barb is sleeping. As you look up, you begin to see Lucius sort of like rise from his sleep. Lucius, you hear a bit of noise.
Barb, what are you doing? He kind of opens one eye.
What do you do, Star?
What I do is I point to her, I point to the cake, and I just try and mouth the words "peace offering."
Okay.
Okay. Do I have to make like a check to see if he's lying?
That depends. Do you think he might be lying?
After seeing what Barb did to him, probably. But at the same time, knowing all of that and knowing Barb, he would just nod and just turn over and go right back to sleep.
Okay. So you place the cake there. You have this brief moment of connection. You both turn around and go your separate ways, making your way back out of the room and closing the door behind you. Barb being none the wiser at the moment.
I would kick you in the tail, but I didn't see any of this.
No, you did not.
Nope. Just wait till you wake up.
Anybody else while they are sleeping? Okay.
Oh wait, I was muted. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I just had a quick question or a thing. Are we all in our own rooms? I guess those who are sharing a room. Is anyone else sharing a room?
That's up to you guys. There are enough rooms available that you can all have your own if you want.
Okay, I want to be in my own room then. Can I take the idol out of my bag after I'm in my room by myself?
Okay. So you take out this idol, this little like kind of driftwood, very dark idol that's carved into the shape of a multi sort of tentacled creature with this mouth full of razor sharp teeth. This kraken idol that you have within the eyes, and it's actually set with like two small little like gemstones of some sort.
Okay. I hold it like real close to my ear. Is it talking?
When you hold it to your ear, you hear this faint sort of so it's like faint language that you can't really comprehend or make out, just like this perpetual whispering to it.
Okay. I like set it on the bedside table. I just like sit there and stare at it for a minute.
Okay.
Can I still hear it talking if I'm like that far away from it? Like if I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and I set it on the bedside table, like can I still hear it, or is it just when it's like really close to me?
It's just when it's really close to you.
Okay. Then I just stare at it for a minute. Are you talking to me?
It sits there unperplexed.
Okay, I'll say my prayer that I always say before I go to bed, and then I'll leave it on the table, because usually I keep it in my pack, but I'll leave it on the table by the bed, and I'll go to sleep, and see if anything weird happens.
Okay. As you fall asleep, and as that sleep just about hits, the whispering kind of comes back to you once again as you drift off to sleep. That same kind of and as you fade or enter your sleeping state, your night, your dreams are filled with these sort of stress, like kind of this perpetual anxiety as you find yourself being like washed around in this dark abyss throughout the entire evening. Nothing different than when you're used to coming these kind of disturbing dreams that you have when this idol is nearby. But you do wake, the same sort of, not the best sleep you ever had, but you're pretty used to it by now.
Okay.
The rest of you wake the following day, fully rested, and your abilities come back to you. And Barb, as you wake and come out of your sleep, you look over and you see a little oat cake sitting next to you on the nightstand by your bed.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. I hungrily grabbed for it.
Okay, so you reach over and you grab it and you take a big bite out of it. I'm going to make a Constitution saving throw.
Let it never be said that I didn't sacrifice my ego for D&D. 19.
So you take a big bite out of the oat cake and it's a little stale. It's got kind of a funny aftertaste to it, but it's all right.
I finished the cake.
Okay, so you begin to chomp down, eating the rest of the cake. I'm going to say with a 19, you devour the entire thing, and it, again, not the best oat cake you've ever had, but it's all right.
Cool. Do I have any idea who would have given me a cake?
I don't know. I mean, Lucius is over there sleeping. There was no note with it, unfortunately.
Lucius.
He curses in Infernal. What do you want? What do you want?
Where did you get the cake?
The oat cake?
Yeah.
I had one when I woke up at like 3 hours ago. I think the person who runs the inn gave it to us.
Oh, well, it was really good.
It was delicious.
Yeah.
Little stale, but after all the food we ate on the ship, I don't care.
Oh, okay. I'll see you in a little while, I guess. Sleepyhead.
Good enough.
Okay. So you all begin to rouse at your own pace. Some of you refreshed and spurred on by a early morning treat of oatcakes, of slightly stale oatcakes. The rest of you come to consciousness once again and come down into the main sort of tavern area of the inn for whatever you wish to do in the morning.
Before Lil comes out of her room, she writes a quick letter to her great-grandmother, just saying, hey, I've made it to this new crazy place, and there's crazy creatures, and everybody seems super nice, and I'm okay. And hopefully when she comes out of her room, she wants to double check with the innkeeper that they could, on the next quote-unquote mail ship out, get the letter out.
Okay. Okay, so you can actually take it down to Renly, who runs the tavern, and as you walk over with the letter, he says, yeah, I can get that in with the next shipment. I usually collect the letters that are sent out with the next ship. So I don't think, well, the ship that you came in on should be leaving soon, so I guess if we rush it down to the docks, might be all right. You all froze on my screen.
Can you hear me?
Can you guys still see me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
You're frozen on
Somebody
mine.
say something because you're all frozen on my screen. Oh, there we go.
Oh, there
Came
you go.
back.
There you
Okay.
go. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. God, panic.
Lil goes,
So, how often do like mail shipments go out?
Whenever a ship comes into the harbor, which is every few weeks or so.
Okay. Well, I told who I'm sending this letter to write me back here, if that's okay. If you get any letters for me, can you hold on to them?
Sure, I can do that.
Thank you. Do you need like money for it or anything?
The usual cost is just a gold piece for the courier.
Here's a gold. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And he takes it and he sticks it in a bag and takes out a box and puts your letter inside of that. You can see some other letters inside of it. Puts the bag into the box and slides it back under the counter and says, I think someone should be going down the docks pretty soon, so I'll get that out to them.
Thanks, Renly.
Thank you. He goes back to cleaning off the counter. Anybody else this morning wish to do anything?
Breakfast.
Breakfast.
Find more oatcakes.
I am going to be doing a little bit of stretching. 'Cause I feel like I got a long day ahead of me, and some of my joints can't take the pressure of the adventure like they used to.
Okay, so you get up and do your morning calisthenics, kind of a little bit of stretching, kind of a few jumping jacks, get ready for the day ahead. Feel pretty loose. Feel good to go.
Maybe slip on a knee brace or something.
Okay. You dig into your bag, past some of the clothes that your wife packed for you, and dig in and find the knee brace that you packed along with your other equipment. Pull that on, feels sturdy now. That kind of that old wound that you have in your leg might act up later.
Also, that sleep count as a long rest, right?
Yeah.
So if I looked into my ammo pouch, I'd have all my ammo back.
Yeah, you're
Cool.
able to craft the rest of your ammo. We're going to say that's kind of like, for the sake of it, it's a little bit your own effort in the mornings, kind of crafting some ammo. It's a little bit takes a little bit of energy from you to do, just for the sake of the flavor for that. Otherwise, just a bag that just magically produces infinite ammo for everybody, and that gets a little bit weird. But yeah, no, you're back to full with a long rest. Anybody else?
Yes. When do I get all my rages back?
Long rest.
Okay, so yes, I get all my rages.
Yes, so you're back to everybody's back to full on everything.
You mean
Right.
your bardic inspiration?
All right. And also, can I roll for perception or investigation of oatcakes?
You're looking for more oatcakes?
Yes.
I will say you don't even need to make a check because you as you come downstairs and look around, you can smell the sound. You can smell breakfast kind of wafting in from the kitchen, and you can smell and see platters of oatcakes and other sort of breakfast goods, big vats of porridge, some other fruits grown in the area. All kind of brought out to all of you, so you may partake of all the oatcakes that you wish.
All right, cool. I put a giant stack of oatcakes on my plate, and I just kind of sit there nibbling on them.
Yeah, these ones taste better. Freshly made, not stale at all. They don't have that weird kind of aftertaste the other one did. These are good.
All right, cool.
Okay. So everybody has a chance to eat and get their breakfast. Anything else?
while we're eating, I'm going to go up to Lucius with my deck of cards. I'm just gonna sit in front of him. I'm gonna say, "Hey, you want to play a game?"
No, I'm good, thank you.
Oh, come on, one round.
I'm horrible at these games. No, I'm good.
It's not for money or anything.
Still really horrible at them.
So,
I'll play, Kara. I'll play.
Sure play.
Kara. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull a
I sit
chair
down to
up.
play.
Wait, I'm
Okay.
gonna have it so that Lilibet is sitting at the table with me and Lucius. So we're playing in front of him.
I'm actually standing on my
Oh.
chair because
If you
I'm
have-
just that short.
If you
And-
have room for one more, I wouldn't mind playing as well.
Sure. Do you know how to play text or hold?
There is another. If you wanted to play a different game, there is
No,
another.
this is fine.
You wanna play?
This is fine.
Okay.
Just send me all the card games later on.
Okay.
I've played once or twice before, but I'm pretty sure I remember the rules.
Okay.
Let's
And-
do this.
So I'm going to deal, and I'm still going to deal to Lucius. But as I'm dealing, I'm going to be like, "So, are you from Aldakir?"
Yes, I am. Illivon, actually, the capital.
Ah. Okay. And then I'm just gonna continue to deal, and we can play.
Okay. So you deal out cards and you all pick up your hand, and I'm gonna have everyone that you do have cards in front of you, Lucius, if you wish to play. However, you may sit out if you wish. First, I'd like everyone to decide how much they are going to bet against one another, or what you guys are all going to bet on this hand.
I'll put 2 gold.
I'll put 2 gold as well.
I'll put 2 gold.
Okay, so everyone puts in 2 gold, and I will have everyone either make an intelligence or a charisma check. If you're proficient in cards, you can add your proficiency bonus.
I'm just watching. Like, what is going on?
20.
17.
That's a 5?
So you play through the hand. You keep an eye on no, kind of counting the odds a bit in your favor. You push just enough to get Saren and Lilibet to kind of overplay themselves a bit, and you get the pot of 6 gold.
Oh.
Ooh, I'm not so good at this game. I'm gonna watch some more. I think I'm out.
Hence why I do not play that often.
Another round?
You're much
Tara?
smarter than I am, Lucius.
Sure. Let's go another round.
You
I'll
learn
put
very
3
quickly.
gold in this time.
And oh, go ahead.
How much are you putting in?
3 gold.
Okay, I'll match.
Okay. So you both put in your 3 gold and you deal the hands. Go ahead and both of you make your checks.
5.
Okay, but you don't do. Do you do the natural ones for checks or skill checks?
I don't, but because it's a tie, it would go to whoever rolled higher. So that's going to be, that's unfortunately going to be Star again. As Star takes another pot of 6 gold pieces, or the 3 on top of what you bet. So you're starting to get very frustrated in the fact that you're losing so much in this game.
That was
Wow.
that was a close hand.
Are you cheating, Star?
I would never cheat at a friendly game like this.
Huh.
I wouldn't even know how to cheat anyway. I haven't played cards in years.
Well, what you do is I'm going to like explain how you can cheat at the game.
Okay.
Lil totally drinks all of this in. She's like,
Oh, really?
I'm going to teach Lil how to become like the best cheater at this game.
Lil's gonna be a card shark by the end of this. All right. So you begin teaching her how she, which to be fair, you don't have proficiency in cards, so it's not that good of a method. But Lil, you think it is, and you're able to. You guys sit there as as Kara sits down and instructs the table on how to cheat at cards.
I do have sleight of hand, though. I'm very good at that.
Yeah. Okay. So, anybody else, after you spend about 45 minutes or so playing cards and eating breakfast? All right. So you stir from the table and well fed and ready to go. You head out from the inn into the mid-morning sun. You can see that the shops are open once again. There are 2 major shops in the city, or in the fort. One of which you've already traveled to, Sadel. There is the Outcast, you're currently in the Outcast Inn. There is Unver's Workshop, which is the smithy across the street. There's also Darlin's Trade Emporium, which is next to it in this courtyard. There is also, beyond that, in sort of amidst a garden, there's a small chapel right outside the keep for worship. It looks to be a chapel of the 6, as per Ifrandalian custom. Otherwise, there's not really much here. There are the barracks and the keep, some stables where some horses are kept. Otherwise, it's a fairly small fort.
So the farm it's like less than a day's travel to the farm, right?
From what you were told, yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to Star and ask some questions. Yay.
What's the weather like here? Like, I've got some stuff, but do I need more than a bedroll and a blanket? Do we need specialized gear to be out in the jungle?
Weather tends to be warm. It can.
Your mic is turned up.
Oh.
Your mic is up.
I knew I'd do it at least once today. So the weather here can be, I suppose, a bit warmer than some places. It can rain just as anywhere, but unless you don't really want to get bitten by bugs or anything, I suppose then you may need some special equipment. I never really bothered too much, so it's up to you.
Well, you are. I mean, I would think it'd be hard to bite you. You are kind of covered in fur. Is it fur? Is it hair? What's the right term?
Is it still stained red?
It's a little pink. It's wine. It takes a lot to get out of fur and white objects. So it's faded, but it's still a little pink.
The right word, I guess, would be fur. It never really came up until I moved to Irandal, but I suppose fur, yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to offend you. Okay, well, I need to get a bedroll, and I think because of those Grun guys, I should get a pair of gloves, like good, thick leather gloves, just in case we have to touch them. What do you think?
That may be a very good idea.
Okay. I would like to go to the trade shop and buy a pair of quality leather gloves.
All right. Anybody else going with them?
Does she say that to people?
I mean, I assume you guys are all kind of gathered together having this conversation. Yeah.
It wasn't a secret convo, but I was just checking.
You know, that's probably a good idea. I'm definitely coming with you on that one.
I'll come. I think I could need some.
I'll come with them too, but I want to say that I already have gloves, that I've been wearing since I'm yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I take my oat cakes?
Yeah, you can kind of bring a handful of oatcakes. You take the leftover. Some other people didn't finish their oatcakes for some reason. You take those and kind of shovel them into your bag. So now you've got a bag full of. I'll say you pick up 10 extra oatcakes. All right. So
I'm actually gonna go to the chapel.
all right.
If anybody wants to go with me.
I'll join
I'll
you
join
after.
her.
Okay.
I'll meet you guys up.
And Saddle, you're gonna go with her.
Mhm.
Okay, so everyone except for Dent and Saddle are heading over to the trade emporium. Well, the two of you head over to the chapel. So, as the five of you make your way across the courtyard, you come outside a simple two-storied wood facaded building. There's a slight porch leading up to a single doorway inside, which is currently open to allow for the open air to come in and out. You can see beyond. The interior is well lit. There are shelves all along the walls, a few kind of standing shelves in the middle of the shop. As you enter, it has a nice sort of aroma to it. There are some candles burning throughout. You can see that there are all sorts of items here. There are trade goods and some just general supplies, rope, shovels, things like that. There are also some more exotic things as you come in. There's some pottery, which is well painted and is sort of foreign to most of you except for Star. It looks to be tabaxi in make. There are actually quite a number of sort of tabaxi objects in here. Some small like kind of oil paintings, some carpets, other kind of I guess cloth and materials that the tabaxi use and use for trade. As you enter, there is a woman towards the back, human, with short, mid-length, blonde hair. It looks pretty young. She comes out, she's wearing an apron. She looks around one of the shelves, adjusting her glasses, and she says, "Oh, hello. Welcome to my shop. Did you come with the delegation? I don't recognize you."
Hi. Yeah, I'm Lilibet.
Oh, welcome, Lilibet and friends. I'm Sable Durlin. This is my shop. How can I help you?
We're looking definitely for some thicker leather gloves to so we're gonna go out to try and deal with this grung problem. And if we have to touch them, none of us want to get the ill effects of their whatever it is.
Oh, well, that's a very good idea. I've been manufacturing or acquiring gloves for many of the soldiers as well for that reason. So, of course, I can get you some. We have some cloth and leather. The leather typically works a bit better for the poison, for the toxin they secrete. The cloth ones only get so many uses before it soaks through. So, sure, I can have some for you.
Do you have a child size? I mean, this is kind of a small hand.
Yeah, I don't know if I have any currently that would fit you. Might have to adjust one.
Well, if you have like your smallest size, I have a friend who may be able to help me out with the sizing.
Okay, that should be fine. So how many pairs you need? She sort of looks behind you to see all the people gathered around.
I didn't ask, but did you want some, Den? Or did you want some, Saddle? Okay, so
it's just all of us. So
For
five of us.
I don't really have plans to touch the thing. It's not really a pleasant experience, so I just figured I'd join you for the shopping trip.
Oh, okay. So 4?
Okay, 4 pairs of gloves for
the four of you, and she says, come forward and show me your hands. I need to size these up correctly and make sure I get you the right pairs. She looks over. Well, actually, you don't need them, do you? It would only be 3 because I just realized that Kara or Saren, you don't need the gloves, do you?
Could I get another pair?
You could if you want.
Like, because I imagine that I have like thick gloves or anything.
No, they're like
probably
silk or something thin. So yeah, you get a pair too. So 4 pairs. So she looks over all of you and says, "Okay, well, I can. Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I could give you the 4 pairs for 2 gold pieces total." You're muted.
Oops. About time.
That's awesome. Can I get a bedroll too?
Bedroll. Oh, all right. Well, let me see.
I love how Sean acts. She's like, let me see.
As I turn to check my inventory. Hold on a second.
One of these days.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, one of these days we're actually going to ask you for something, and you're literally going to pull it out and be like, here you go.
Come and get it. All right. Bedroll is going to be another gold piece. So she says, no, there'll just be 1 more gold piece on top of that.
Okay. And I put 3 gold pieces on the counter.
Like, guys, I got this. No worries. Thanks for going on this adventure with me. I'm really excited.
2, what was it? 3 gold for all of them. He hands her a few silver pieces just kind of to pay for his gloves.
No, it's okay. I got this. I got it. It's all good.
I know, but it's easier this way. It's fine. You did not have to do it.
I want some gloves.
You're included in all of this.
Yeah.
You're getting some gloves.
She says that she's just eating oat cakes.
She just look up. Oh, I want some gloves.
Here you go, Barb. I got you some. Don't worry.
So you each have a pair of leather gloves. Yours are a little small or a little large for you, Lil, but you could make them work for now and get them adjusted or have them adjusted later on. Okay.
Well, that's all I needed, guys. Do you guys need anything?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine.
She actually looks over towards Star as you guys are finishing your transaction. She says, it's a little weird to ask. I assume you're from around here.
I am, yes. I haven't been home for a while, though.
Okay. Could I ask you some questions about... I haven't had much time to speak with any Tabaxi about their culture. To be blunt, I'm trying to establish some trade in that area, and I'm having a bit of a hard time with it. It seems that, they're not as open to doing business in the sort of way that I am used to. I was wondering if you could give me any pointers.
Well, first thing I'd suggest that I actually learned this very quickly. If you offer your gold as jewelry and such, I'm sure someone will happily take it for that, and I'm sure the idea will spread around soon enough. If you need to know a really good merchant next to Baxter that comes in, ask if he can get you with a merchant by the name of Bird. I'm sure that they'll know who you mean or who I mean.
Bird. Oh, all right. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. As I said, came here hoping to build up a bit of a trade business, and it's been kind of hard, but I'll remember that. Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing, the more unusual things you can get, the better for you as well.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll ask you if you have any more questions. I'm sure you're all busy. I might have to talk to you again later on.
Of course, I don't mind that. Thank you for helping us out, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Let me know if you need anything. Pleasure doing business with all of you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Do you have any bard stuff?
Bard stuff. What do you mean?
You know, bard stuff.
We do have some musicians in town that have asked me to acquire some strings and materials to maintain their instruments. If that's what you're looking for.
I mean, sure, yeah. Yeah, I'll take some strings.
Okay. I can tell you some. What do you need it for? I'm sorry. I don't know what it is you're exactly asking for.
She holds up her lute axe
Oh God.
proudly.
What is that?
What do you mean, what is that? It's a lute.
Certainly, it's rather unique. Can say I have never seen its like.
It's awesome is what you're gonna say, right?
Yes. Yes. Judging by the gauge of the strings that you have, I think that I have some replacements for you, if that's what you'd like. I can give you a few coils of it for a gold piece if you wish.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. And she goes into the back and comes back out with 3 coils of the kind of thick gauge, almost wire for your lute. Hands it over to you and says, if you need anything specifically, or if you wish to purchase another instrument, I can acquire one for you as well. Just let me know. Most of the business here is filling orders. So.
Okay. Do you have any shields with spikes on them?
You might want to speak with Unvar next door for that. That sounds more up his alley.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. And the gold piece?
Oh, sorry. Here you go.
Oh.
She awkwardly gives a gold piece to the shopkeeper.
Okay. She takes it and tucks it away. Says, let me know if you need anything else, darling.
Thank you.
All right. So you have 3, we'll say 5-foot coils of wire for your lute.
Are they like, can I tell whether or not those are actually supposed to be for a lute or not?
They look about the same as the one what you have, so they would function. Yours has to have the thick gauge for when you're hitting people with it, otherwise it would snap all the time. So
obviously.
Part of the reason why it never sounds like it's entirely in tune, but it works that way. But yeah, it's about the same. Maybe even just a little bit thinner than what you have previously, but it should work. All right. Any other places you guys want to go? Did you want to go next door?
Lil wants to go to the temple and pay a tithe to, I'm assuming because it's Temple of 6, there's one for each of the 6 main gods, and so she wants to give a couple of silver to the altar of Lelovath.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything else besides going to the temple?
I'm gonna go next door to that place that they were talking about, that the person was talking about, with like the stuff and the things, the spikes.
Okay.
And stuff.
Yeah.
So you head that way. We'll go ahead and go to the people that are at the temple, and then I'll come back to that.
All right,
So you head next door to the smith, while the rest of you head off to the temple. Both Denowin and Sadel getting there first. You enter into this small chapel, and you can see it's meager in its kind of offerings there, but definitely serves its purpose. It's enough space that probably 5 or so people could fit comfortably, and there aren't any benches or any like mass area for a lot of people to worship within there, but there are 6 stations at the corners of this room, each one with a small shrine to each of the 6 gods. You see the ones for Lelavath, Charlie, Gethys, Aricia, Alarius, and Grin, all in their place.
Okay. Since there's not usually anywhere I go a shrine to Seraphine, then I'll go to the shrine of Alarius, who's the big boss, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'll take out the idol that I have and kind of just place it like in front of the little shrine, and I'll say the prayer that I always say, that I sort of carry with me, and just kind of sit there for a minute and see if it does anything.
Okay, so you sit down and kneel in front of the altar of Alarius, being the greater deity, which yours falls under. You take out the idol and unwrap it, place it on the altar, and sit there praying. As you pray, your voice echoes out, and nothing happens.
As usual.
A kraken bursts from the idol and eats you.
That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Wow.
Game over.
Rocks fall, everyone dies. Well, as usual, I'll just take it and I'll wrap back up and I'll put it in my bag. And I'll just kind of sit for a minute, and then I'll wait until Sadel and Lil, when she comes in, I'll wait until they're ready to go, and then I'll leave with them.
Okay, so Sadel, you're in there as well. What would you wish to do?
I head over to the shrine for Aricia and would just quietly, as not to disturb anyone else who's in here. Is it just us two, or?
Right now, it's just the 2 of you.
Okay, yeah, since it would be really quiet in there, I'd just kind of, in a hushed tone, in Elvish, just say a prayer to Aricia.
Okay, so you kneel there as well, praying for a moment. And as you guys pray, Lilibet comes walking up, and you enter the chapel and see the 2 of them kneeling at their different deities and in quiet prayer.
For once, I actually don't bother them because I understand prayer. And I go and do my tithing, and I do a little prayer, and then I go and stand by the door, kind of waiting for them to all be done.
Okay. You go up to the altar of Lelavath,
Yep.
the crescent moon sculpture there, and take out a few coins and place them at the foot of the altar, and take a step back, waiting for everyone to pray or finish their prayers and contemplation. After a few moments, I assume Sadel and Den, the 2 of you, finish your offerings and stand.
Our quiet bonding.
Yeah. And the 3 of you, I guess, head back.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
we walk in, I'm like,
Well, I mean, I knew about Sadal, but we're kind of a diverse bunch, aren't we?
Yeah, seems like.
Well, if we got three of us that have gods to look to, maybe we got a good shot at doing okay out there.
Yes, I suppose so.
I hope so.
All right. As we cut over to Barb entering the smithy next door, you head through the open doors there and into the kind of sweltering interior of this front room of the workshop. There are a number of workbenches around, each one with equipment and works in progress kind of scattered throughout. There's some weaponry freshly forged and not sharpened yet kind of hanging on the walls. You see some shields off to one side, some armor to the other, and in the center of the room, currently working with some materials, you see a dwarven man. He brushes himself off and dusts off his apron and turns back towards you and says, "Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. Can I help you?"
Does he obviously speak Dwarven?
I mean, he's a dwarf, so that's...
I speak to him in Dwarven.
Okay. He kind of raises an eyebrow, just responds to you in Dwarven and says, "Oh, well, I didn't realize. Pleasure to speak my own tongue once again."
I don't really get the opportunity very often. It's pretty cool to see when I can.
Well, it's quite nice. So what can I do for you?
I was just wondering if you had some bard stuff.
Sorry, cats. He kind of squints and says, I don't sell instruments or anything here, unfortunately. It's not really something I'm comfortable working with. Did you try next door at Darlin's?
Yeah, I mean, she gave me some strings, but and she holds up her lute axe. Can you do anything with this, or do you have any cool shields or something I could use in case?
He looks at it and says, "That's beautiful. Where did you get this?"
Why, thank you. The person next door didn't seem to think so, but that's okay. I actually I was given the lute, but I put some some sharp things on the side, just in case I ever needed it. I thought it made it look pretty, so.
Well, that's very unique. I'm always looking to make different. I find weaponry and typical wares, especially what I make for the soldiers here, is very boring. I'd really love to make something similar. If you don't mind, do you own the rights to the blueprints for this or anything? Are you willing to? Could I make something similar or attempt to craft something like this?
I mean, sure. I feel like there could always be more, great lutes in the world.
Oh, of course. If there's anything you wish specifically, I could adjust for you. I could attempt to.
Well, I guess look at this one. Does this one look like it's good? Should I do anything with this?
He takes it and kind of holds it in his hands and looks it over and says, "The balance seems all right." He kind of plucks out a few of the streams. He says, "Yeah, a bit out of tune a bit, but I'm sure that it just needs a good tuning before your next performance." Do you perform around here?
I mean, a bit. In so many words, I guess.
Oh, that's. I'd love to hear how this sounds during a performance. Let me know if you're going to be doing anything at the tavern or in town. I'd love to hear how this sounds in practice. But it seems fine to me. Well balanced, well made. I don't think I could do much better than that. But other than a few minor adjustments, I have a bit of flair for adding some golds and silvers into the design. It's a bit pricey, but the end result is
is worth it.
How much do you mean by pricey?
Well, the material and of the gold and silver cost, of course, it wouldn't add anything. It probably wouldn't be as functional for warfare or battle, but it would make for an excellent eye catcher during a performance.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there any way that, like, because, like, I notice that, like, sometimes my music doesn't sound as good whenever I'm using my lute, and I feel like, kind of bump it around a lot sometimes when I'm performing. I was wondering if maybe you could, like, somehow make it so it stays in tune better?
I can give it some thought and think of a way to do that. You might have to come back to me. I'll have to mull it over the next couple of days, see what I can think up. But I might have some ideas. You mentioned something about wanting a shield, though.
Yeah. I was wondering, I really like this idea of, like, having a shield that makes a pretty sound whenever I use it.
Use it how?
I mean, what is there another way to use a shield that I'm unaware of? I thought that you carried it and, like, it looked.
I mean, in combat, when it's struck.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I might be able to think of something. I'll think about that too. I guess with a different sort of wood, and depending on the tenor and the shape of the shield, I could probably come up with a few ideas with that as well.
Okay, cool. I'll think about it, and if you have any ideas, and she scribbles down, like, some information. This is probably where you can try and reach me.
Oh, okay. Takes it. What does it say?
It basically says, like, whatever inn that I was just recently.
Oh, he takes it and he looks at it. He says, "You're just staying across the street."
For right now.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, I'll find you there then. Thank you for this. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Unver. What's yours?
I'm Barb.
Barb. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm hoping we can do some business in the future. This is quite exciting. I like I said, most of what I do here is repairing simple blades for the soldiers, and it's pretty boring. So this should be exciting, at least.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
You head out of the shop to meet all your companions kind of gathered in the square.
Strumming happily at my lute.
Did you get what you were looking for, Barb?
Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah. I went in there, and this nice guy in there. His name's Unver. He really likes my lute.
I mean, how could he not like your lute? Who doesn't like your lute?
The lady over there.
The shop lady?
Yeah.
Never going there again.
Awful, right?
Awful person. How could... I don't understand how these
I
people
know,
don't like his lute.
Some people, man.
They're not civilized like me and you.
I know.
How dare those untamed savages come to this proud, wondrous land?
Those barbarians.
So, are you guys done shopping? Can we go?
I was waiting on you guys. I've been sitting in the street waiting for all of you.
You've just been sitting in the street. This whole
Pretty
time.
much. Pretty much. Yeah, he's pretty much just been like standing on a corner, just like waiting for all of you. Cause
Those barbarians! As Lucius just sits on a street corner, like.
pretty much.
So how are we doing this? Just gonna like walk on over? What are we doing?
What else are we gonna do?
Well, I'm pretty sure we cannot swim there.
Well, that would be preferable, but you know.
I assume we are going to go check out the farm first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's keep. Go ahead. Sorry.
Star, do you want to sort of take the lead since you are kind of... I don't like to just like make assumptions, but you're sort of familiar with the terrain.
Well, first I need a vote. I need a vote of you guys. We can either take the take the pathway straight in, but we'd be much easier seen. They'd know we were coming. Or we could try and go through the woods. It'd be easier for us to ambush, but there would hold a few more dangers in general.
Is anyone scared of the fairies?
No one's scared of fairies.
No, I want to meet one.
Well, to be fair, two things. One, we do know that they live in the trees, so we can keep an eye out and maybe they won't get the jump on us. And two, and I just look at myself and I look at Lilibet and I look at our armor. I don't think we're going to be able to get in without making some noise.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I make a lot of noise when I move around, and I totally shimmy.
Yeah. I sound like that. I'm not going to do that,
Okay,
but I sound
okay.
like that.
Okay. Fortunately here, ambush and guerrilla tactics, totally the big thing. So, when we get close to the farm, we'll take a look, see what guards there are, see what they're doing. If there's a chance to split up and attack from two directions, then we take it.
Alright, I mean, you're the expert.
Well,
I have your
would
back.
Would it be helpful if, I don't know, you guys held back and maybe Den and I walked up, because we can't be quiet, so maybe we pretend like we're two travelers, do, and then you guys come in behind and shank them.
Distraction. They will not hear you over our armor.
Sadel is just standing in the back, just rubbing his temples.
Grandpa's so disappointed in us right now.
That actually might work.
We could go I mean, we've got hammers and stuff. We could go in and make some noise, kind of draw them to us, and then all from the trees and the shadows, you guys could go, ah! And
I
sneak up
actually
on
have
them.
an idea. You said you wanted to make some noise. Crap, I forgot her name. Barb. Did you perhaps want to play some music in the forest?
Oh.
I mean, sure.
Barb, you could make a concert out of this. It is your dream.
Dare say, my destiny.
Well, so we can go in with Bob then, sort of back her up, and then everyone else can hide.
She's our musical accompaniment.
Yeah, and then so we're like bouncers. We'll back you up, and then everyone else can hide. And then when they're
Why don't I
distracted,
get to hide?
well, you can either hide or you can make noise, but not both probably.
I thought you wanted to share your music.
I mean,
They do need to know who is doing this beautiful music, Barb.
I'm sure the fairies will like it too.
you do make a good point.
Alright, so the three of us, right, will go in.
And I'll hide.
Yeah, you'll hide. And Bob will play, and we'll just sort of stand there and make noise, and then everyone else will jump out. We catch them by surprise.
And I suppose I could perform as sort of an overwatch with my rifle.
From very far away. Can you shoot? Does it go very far?
Yeah, I can pretty much. I'm comfortable hitting a shot at about 150 feet.
Whoa.
That's quite a good range.
Is that with or without the glasses?
Well, in my prime, I could hit it about 500 feet, but it's been quite a while since I've attempted that.
Why, you just need more practice, good sir.
We could put you up in a tree.
Unless
They
those
would
frog things.
never see that coming.
Unless they live in the trees, and then they would exactly
Well-
see that coming.
Well, we find a tree that don't have the frogs in them. I mean, it was just an idea, but if you don't like it, we can do something else.
No, it's a brilliant idea. It's how I would do it back in, home. But that's a different story.
Thank you. That's no one's ever called me brilliant before.
Well, it's a good tactical plan. We have 2 people that are kind of, well, not the quietest, and then the third person who just needs to get the music out, and then the rest of us should go behind them and stab them in the back. It's beautiful. It's genius. We should do it.
Kara, Lucius, you two both okay coming into the woods with me? We should be able to circle around and get to a point to attack from behind.
It's not like I've never done this before, so yes, I'm perfectly okay with it.
I don't really know what that means, but it scares me just a little.
It's a story for another time when we don't have missing kids and a farm. I'll tell you all about it later. No, they
But
don't
now
know.
we follow the path. If I tell us to move into the woods, we go to the sites immediately, understand? If anything's watching, we need to try and to keep away from it.
Alright, let's go. We have a plan.
One more question before we
Oh
go
my
anywhere.
gosh.
No. It's a very good question. What
Is
else is
it?
in the woods? What else is in the woods that we need to watch out for?
Fairies and spiders.
Other than fairies.
Those are the two that I heard and that I'm most worried about, is fairies and spiders.
What other animals do I know reside in the woods around this area?
Besides fairies and frogs.
I mean, there's all sorts of. You don't know how much it would have cleared out of this area since they've begun like sort of developing it. But as far as the jungles of Groudar, there are panthers. There are giant constrictor snakes. There are some plants that can cause some problems too, poisonous or carnivorous. There are apes and other sort of creatures. I mean, the list goes on and on. Everything here wants to kill you. You can probably assume that.
I'm just listing off pretty much all of those with some weird anecdote about every other one.
Can we go before half the party decides that they don't want to go anymore?
We need to go.
However, as you guys step out, most of the terrain between here and the farmlands to the south is pretty cleared. There are some spots of forest in area, and as you leave the gates and the guards point you in the direction, you see the roadsides or the roads sort of wind over the countrysides. You can see some small homes for the workers and the peasants that live in the area. And far to the south, you know that that's the direction you're heading towards. Yes?
I'm sorry, I had a thought. He's laughing at me, I just had a thought. Before we go, as a ritual, can I cast Guiding Hand?
You can.
Which will kind of make sure we stay on the right path?
Yeah, you can certainly do that. So you take a few minutes and sit down and begin to concentrate, focusing on this farm. I'm going to allow it in this case. Normally it would have to be a more like kind of prevalent landmark to an area. This isn't necessarily a landmark. It's more of just a house with some land around it.
It's like a whole farm that people
Like I said,
know about.
I'll
Well,
allow
they
it
said,
for
They said it
this.
was the southernmost farm, so
It
that's
is.
a landmark. It's the last one.
Thanks, Lil.
We'll go with it for now. As Lil starts talking to the air, arguing on behalf of your spell.
Like, really trying hard to concentrate.
But I'll allow it for this circumstance. So you concentrate, and this small sort of radiant hand forms in the air around you, sort of sparking with electricity around it. It looks towards you, or it moves towards you, and palm up beckons you to follow it.
Alright, I just made this in case we have to separate, and that way I can just make sure that we're still going in the right direction. So yeah.
And it is beckoning you to go south.
I made this.
Let's go.
So you begin to follow the roads leading south, winding through the countryside, making your way to the southern farmstead. And I think that is where we will go ahead and call it here today. I know that because Alex has to leave right at 8:30, so I want to make sure that you don't get roped into something else. So, as your newly formed group begins confidently striding towards your next objective, that is where we will pick up our adventure next week. Well done, everyone. You all survived the first session.
Barely.
Barely.
So, before we cut off the stream, I know... thank you for everyone that's watching. I know Savannah has some thanks as well. Why don't you go ahead? You want to go through that?
Oh yeah, just real quick. We want to thank profusely and from the bottom of our hearts our friend and player Julie for doing all of our character art. She's amazing and wonderful and just a brilliant artist. And if you're interested in her art and you like it and you want to know more about it, or you want to talk to her about when she has commissions open and things like that, let us know. Get in touch with us on Twitter and we can put you in touch with her. If anyone is interested in the stuff that we use other than Roll20, we get all of our music from Incompetech, all royalty-free music. So if you like the stuff that you've been hearing, you want to use it in your own games, go for it. It's great. All the maps that we use that Sean has made, including our world map that he tweeted out earlier, were made with Incarnate. So check that out if you're looking for a way to make awesome maps for your own campaign. Other than that, thank you to our friends that hosted our game, everybody that came out to watch. And if you want more excellent, awesome D&D and other gaming content, remember to follow You Pick Gaming on Twitter, here on Twitch, and subscribe on YouTube, where you can watch all of our games again and all of their games again. And yeah, we're just really excited to be doing this.
Yeah, so we will be back here same time, same place next week to continue this wonderful adventure. And I guess until next time, good night, Internet.
Good night.
Good night, Internet.
Good night.